This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I are playing the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. The scenario is The Abyss in Their Eyes. It was written by Quico, Vicens-Picatto, and it's available from the Miskatonic Universe, Miskatonic Repository. Our keeper of arcane lore is David Gassaway, and this is a one-shot. If you would like to lend us some support, you can visit our Patreon site. It's your kind generosity that keeps us going. So without any further delays, let's begin our journey into the darkness. David?
Thank you, Tom. The year is 2258 when we join the crew of the research vessel Kukulkan J3, which is in geostationary orbit around the Jovian moon Europa. You're a research team, each has your specialties. Mostly you were maintaining the vessel and looking for signs of life in the oceans under the surface of Europa. You all have gotten to know each other very well because after you were hired, you had some briefing and training together. And then you had the slow boat across the void of interplanetary space. And you have been in orbit for 2 months around Europa. Would each of you introduce yourselves?
I'm Captain Huang. I am the captain of the Kukulkan. I am Vietnamese. I am 50 years old, though I don't look it. I am highly disciplined. I am a Buddhist and vegan. So far, my crew has performed admirably, and they'll be getting good reports.
I'm Adrian Cohen. I fly this boat, brought us across the deep void. I look 40, I feel 60, which is what I am. So that's how life goes sometimes whenever you put a lot of money into making yourself look young, but not a lot of work into making yourself feel young. On that note, most nights you'll find me, either curled up with a bottle of booze or laying in a bar with another bottle of booze.
Hey, it's me, Allison, guys. I'm the ship's mechanic. Laid back, in her 30s, just wants to, get out there into space and just experience a galaxy, man. You know what I'm saying? I went to Yale, and I'll be paying off those student loans for the next 300 years. So, I got to get in there, make that scratch, and see where the winds take me, baby. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm Wanga Alcazar. I originate from Spain. I am the ship's biologist and currently a lone wolf. I like to be on my own and play video games, especially tactical combat ones. Also very much love to be in my lab and looking under the microscope at all the little microbes and everything floating through the liquid.
Yes, I'm Pritchard Chen, and I'll probably have taken the least comfortable looking bunk and be very unhappy about it, but I'm trying to look cool and be with it. And I'm a middle-aged, for this period of time, Asian gentleman who his parents were famous researchers, but unfortunately after they perished in a tragic shuttle accident. He hasn't been the same since.
Thank you all. Such is the disparate crew of Kukulkan J3, finding accommodations for each other because it's going to be a long haul, but not the one they expected. Because as we begin, the Kukulkan's artificial intelligence begins firing all the alarms. Klaxon sound, red lights spin. The announcement available through whatever medium you prefer is that there has been a violent breach of the reactor core of the Kukulkan J3, and it is currently expected that containment will be impossible, and all staff need to evacuate.
All hands to the lifeboats.
All hands to lifeboats, which in this case are hibernation pods, because you don't know how long you're going to be between escape and pickup. So the first question you have is, in 10 minutes at the utmost, what do you upload, grab, or how otherwise you prepare yourself for the deep freeze?
Shit, man.
I intend not to grab much of anything at all. I need to find a suitable location where when we land the pods, or the pods are landed, that it's not rough terrain or it's not thin ice or anything like that. So I'll sacrifice getting trinkets out of my office and just do that.
So
Make
Captain Huang,
calculations.
is in subcommunication with the AI, trying to figure out trajectories and whatnot. It's not safe to crash on Europa, and you certainly don't want to sink into Jupiter. So you're actually going to be shot away from it so that you're not in a gravitational well. And each of the pods is equipped with a beacon. And they'll try to cluster them, but there's limitations. Basically, it wants to fling you as far from the impending explosion as it can.
We'll AI try to choose the best trajectory, try to keep us all clustered.
I will go ahead and grab some engineering tools that maybe I have, like a tool belt or whatever, in case I could use those. And then I go to my bunk and grab, like, I've got a couple of I don't know what they play music on in the future, but a music player.
Yeah, we'll say that each of these hibernation and / escape pods you're not going to put anything inside it with you.
Oh, okay.
But there are compartments that you can put things in so that you don't have to escape empty-handed into the void.
Gotcha.
All right. Adrian is running from his pilot's chair to grab exactly two things in this order. One, his best bottle of booze. And two, his headband that he has to wear, or this pod is absolutely crashing into something.
Headband.
I'm definitely just stuffing all my different hard drives into the compartments and being like, God damn it, do I take map of section B or section C?
Whichever one you don't take is the one you're going to want, of course.
Yeah.
Wanga's probably already, he's a prepared type person. He probably already has a small bag with essentials in it. Probably going to grab an extra thermal suit and also a picture of his family that he is no longer close to, but he still cares greatly for, and he's going to put that in his bag. Also maybe taking one of his plasma sensors to scan the area once they are able to get out of the pod where they land.
Very good. So you settle in. You've all been in the deep freeze before, so you know that you're going to feel like crap whenever you wake up. And 3 months pass, not that you know it. You are each astonished to find yourselves swooning into consciousness roughly at the same time. You were in the open pods. It's hard on the human system. Yes, Huang.
I'm having unstable things. I missed that.
Oh, sorry. Oh yeah, you are a little out of sync.
You said that we wake up. That's about as far as I heard. And then
Okay.
I froze.
Yeah, so you find yourself waking up in your individual pods in a room that is comfortable in temperature, reasonably lit. You were at 0 Gs on the Kukulkan, but you're actually experiencing either acceleration or gravity right now. There's a tall, thinnish, olive-complected guy with kind of messy hair and slightly weird eyes, who's sort of humming to himself and fussing about as he, checks the readouts on each of the pods. And when he sees the first of you, your eyes flutter open. He's like, "Good morning, sleepyheads. We've only got about 20 hours awake on top of you, but welcome to Deimos 23. You guys are on your way to Neptune."
What?
How long have we been under asleep?
It looks like you guys were evacuated 3 months ago, somewhere around Jupiter.
Yes, we were orbiting Europa. There was a catastrophic failure of our ship. That's only been a few months then.
That's not bad. 3 months is nothing.
So we're on the way to Deimos. Yeah.
Oh, you're on the Deimos. This is Deimos 23. We're on our way to Neptune. You guys have gotten yourselves. You guys have hitchhiked onto a long haul truck. And our ship picked up your beacons and woke us up. So we were going to sleep for quite a few more clicks. Yeah, so I'm Captain Igor. You're all welcome. Happily, there's space for you. Part of what we're delivering out into the deep dark is food and fuel. So, we're not in shortage of anything, but we're going to get tired of all the board games that we have on ship because we weren't going to be awake for much of this ourselves, and you guys have to be awake for a while. So, yeah, I hope at least one of you's a decent bridge player.
We're sorry to inconvenience you in any way. I'm Captain Vu Huang. If you need any assistance.
Much appreciated. We might be taking turns. We're overstaffed now that you're all here. We of course have had we're still groggy here, and he produces the sort of tumblers with little caps on them and starts handing them around. I call this my broth. It's I put a little bit of amphetamine, some electrolytes, a little painkiller, a little anti-nausea stuff. I find that makes kicking it less awful, waking up. And I'll introduce you to the rest of the crew after you guys have gotten yourselves organized and cleaned up. Yeah.
Did you really have to give me the Dave and Buster's mug?
Nostalgia is a funny thing, man.
So, which way is your showers? I feel like I need to wash 3 months off me.
Right. That's all. We can actually. Once you should stretch a little bit before you try to make your way around. We're actually in acceleration right now, so we're about moon gravity, which I find not too bad. So yeah, once your knees stop wobbling, I'll show you. You can choose which bunks you want. Let's just have a quick look at a map of the Deimos 23 for future purposes.
Meanwhile, I'm doing the most basic stretches known to humankind. Just a little arm over, hike the leg up behind me.
You're in the one of the laboratory areas now. That's where they carted you in. So basically the center underneath this whole populated area of the ship is the cargo hold, which is just a sort of big bullet-shaped kind of thing, which is the payload. We're basically on a tugboat. So yeah, so you can go down that hallway once you are comfortable and choose a spot to lay out your things. If you have any things, we've had a preliminary look at the data on all your pods. No indication that any of you are unhealthy. Our scanners did try to locate your vessel, the Kukulkan, and it's real hot. It's a real hot, oddly shaped ball of metal. It's going to be radioactive for a while. But you were you were well clear of it, and don't have any more radiation than we'd expect for something floating in the void for a while.
Has Central Command been contacted about your finding us?
Yeah, we made a report. Communication's slow. We haven't heard anything back yet, but we're dependent on. We spent a lot of fuel decelerating to pick you up and speeding up again, and all of that. So all the contracts will have to be taken care of. But your next of kin or employers or what have you will find out in time. They probably already know that you are no longer doing whatever you were doing at Europa, because it was a pretty bright flash for a split second.
Well, the AI should have sent a message back to headquarters just to tell them that we were having trouble. They may in fact be sending unless they communicate with you, they may already be sending a rescue to see if they can find us. But since
there's
already
so little, there's so little traffic out here, and so little in terms of urgency when you're in a cryogenic pod that, actually our AI might have been tipped off before we even picked up your beacons that there might be somebody to fetch. I could look into that if you're curious. I don't know which was the chicken and which was the egg.
Just for the sake of knowing when it's convenient for you, we'll settle in. Thank you.
Absolutely. You can there's little beacon things here and there you can press if you want to just get somebody's attention if you're uncomfortable. We actually have this particular vessel. There's an ongoing project where they're sending some head shrinker around with different long distance vessels who's doing a study of psychological effects. I mean, as if we needed some shrink to tell us that boredom makes people crazy after a while, or you get sick of roommates when they have bad habits. But anyway, he'll probably come and chat you up at some point. He's a perfectly nice guy. A little nervous, I think. A little on the nervous side. But, who else would be in that business? Am I right? When you could fly a ship, or you could talk to people in little rooms.
Takes one to know one.
Well, let's all be glad that we're alive. And thank you for your hospitality.
I was referring to the psychologist, not you.
Captain Igor, do you happen to have a medical doctor aboard?
No. We were a captain, a pilot, a technician, and a shrink. The shrink, I think he's got medical. I think he's trained in some. Technically, he's a neo-psychoanalyst, so I don't know how much they have to do, but he can give you pills if that's what you're concerned about.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, definitely.
I will need to speak with them.
All right, good to know. So yeah, just scream if you need anything. There's there's a little bit of signage. It's not a big ship. You'll find your way around. Don't bounce too high. I guess you guys were in 0G, so you're used to it. This is in between. It's not bad. You can digest a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You know. All right. Expect the shrink to drop by, and otherwise, it's not. We do 2 communal meals a day usually, just to keep to some kind of schedule. So dinner is in about 2 standard hours. You can find your way, and you should, except for poking into other people's quarters, just feel free to look around the ship. You're not going to break anything, and it was all on autopilot till a little while ago anyway. It's not like we need to be, not like we're, constructing something actively on here. We're mostly just minding the boat. Right. And true to the captain's expectations, again, an artificially induced sleep for 3 months where you're kept just above tissue damage. It's got a hangover. The broth, you can decide for yourself whether it's worth it. It certainly isn't a pleasant substance to drink, but may be helpful.
I grab my 2 items out of my pod and walk down the hall to find the nearest unoccupied room. Lay my 2 items on the bed or whatever, and deep sigh, realizing I probably should have grabbed at least another item. Then I take a little swig of my booze to try to cure my own hangover and just wander back out, see what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, so the sleeping compartments are pretty simple. Everything folds up, a la a water ship, and it's designed so that when you have some degree of gravity, you can enjoy resting on surfaces, but everything can also be netted up for when you're turning around or in orbit or something, and at 0G. The lounge is at the opposite wing from where the bunks are. So I assume if you're wandering to look for people, that's where you'll be headed. The lounge and the mess.
Yep, that I'll make my way that way.
Yeah, Wanga's probably going to go find a bunk as well, but him not being a very social creature, he's probably going to stay there until dinner time.
I'm more or less just making sure I know where everybody is staying. I'll take whatever bunk is left, and I'll start wandering about, get myself familiar with the ship. Maybe walk up towards the bridge just to see what their bridge looks like.
Richard or Ellison, any desires in particular?
Nothing specific for Allison. She's just taking it in, and she's like, "All right, so looks like I'm off duty for the next couple months. Okay, I can deal with that. Yeah."
I'm just trying to hang near my bunk and make sure my data didn't get corrupted by some cosmic rays or something like that.
Mm-hmm. You probably had, in addition, depending on what you chose in terms of maximizing storage, you probably have a reader that you can sift through what you brought, in addition to be able to add things to the ship's drives. It looks like, again, the Kukulkan flung you as far away as it could before it was destroyed, so it looks like everything's intact. And in fact, you might be the least bored person on the Deimos for the next several months, because you can sift through all of the scans you tried to do through the surface ice of Europa. There's, a lot of data to crunch. So Wuhong, we'll start with you. Because when you make your way up to the bridge, you find that that's where Igor's gone. And he's basically just, sort of approving the AI's plans for adjusting your speed and trajectory based on the detour that they made. They had been flung out and then they had to slow down and spin around and pick you up and start speeding up again. So they've got to make, numerous tiny adjustments to the planned journey. And it's not as nice a vessel as the Kukulkan was, because the research vessel's meant for people to live on for a longer period of time, and they're a little bit higher in the social echelon than people who basically are moving freight. But it's clean. It doesn't look like anybody's had to reach under anything and wire anything by hand. The main issue
the layout is pretty much what any bridge would be laid out like.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, familiar. Your pilot, would be able to take over if their pilot ate the bad fish, as it were. Igor, when you come in, he sort of smiles and waves you up, and then he looks at you really strangely. Like he just completely forgot who you were and why you were there. But also, they were also hibernating. He hasn't been up for a lot longer than you have, and it's disorienting.
You have questions, Captain?
Oh, Captain Huang. No, nope. You found everything all right? You're comfortable?
Yes, we are. Thank you. What is our ETA? When are we going to arrive at our destination?
We are going to be awake. Well, we're trying to figure that out. The Deimos is going to rendezvous in about 8 standard months. We're traveling real fast, and it's really far out. So, one thing we have to figure out is, since our hibernation was interrupted and your hibernation was unanticipated, if we're going to sleep in shifts or how to maximize functionality and health with, not just going stir crazy on this can. There's no scenery. The stars don't move when you look out the window. We're not going to fly by.
We're quite used to this.
Yeah.
If you'd like, I could assist. I could set up a rotating, shift based on what yours may already be.
Yeah, I mean,
inconvenience you. Well,
yeah. Again, it wouldn't have been right, proper, legal, or kind to let you guys just drift in the void. But it totally changes all of our plans. If you want to try and the thing is, we should probably figure out some group dynamics before we make any decisions, right? Did you get along with your people?
Oh yes, they were excellent. Mr. Cohen, the pilot, and Miss Garrett, the engineer. They have their amusing sides, if you will, but they are definitely competent in doing their jobs. Mr. Chen and Mr. Alcazar are scientists. Not sure what use they'll be here, but Mr. Alcazar definitely has medical and biology, so he may be of use.
Yeah.
We'll find things for them to do.
Right, they're the ones who might get bored. Anybody hook up yet? To your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge.
Just that, this are the sort of things when you're in close quarters for months at a time without a lot of external stimulus, it's good to figure out those interpersonals.
Well, I'm used to a certain level of discipline. I understand that your ship is run to your own standards and your own level of comfort. These long hauls, they're more relaxed, obviously, than ours was. Ours was mostly scientific investigation, and there wasn't much time for frivolity.
Right. Yeah, working tour versus just tourist tour. Yeah, well, I mean, we can at least figure out rough averages for how long you people need to be awake, and then we can start to get into the bits of if somebody's going to need a big break before, they go bonkers.
I'll write something up and I'll present it to you later.
Much appreciated. I'm sure we're gonna figure it all out. Sure we're gonna. And Adrian, you were headed to the lounge. There's one person already in there. It's a woman of somewhat Asiatic cast. She might not be East Asian exactly, and she's got a little kit with tiny scissors and a little spritzer and other little implements, and she's puttering around with some of the potted plants that are under little grow lights in the lounge. The lounge is looking like somebody imprinted on some photographs from Western civilization in the 1970s. There are ethnic wall hangings. There are a lot of potted plants. There is a sunken carpeted seating area. There's lots of shelving, some of it open and a lot of it closed cabinets that have books and other media and things like that. And it's not an unpleasant room. It's one of the larger rooms that, as far as you know, the largest open room on the vessel. And the woman starts a little when you come in, and then she turns and says, I'm so glad that I'm awake to visit all the little growing things. They take care of themselves, of course, and the ship takes care of them. But I like to get in there and do a little gardening. It's so good to be around living things. I am Asuka Menendez. We all sort of know who you are, Mr. Cohen, because we've been reviving you for a little while, and we've read your charts. I think you're gonna have a great time with us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like the aesthetic you got going on here. I like the little party pit down there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not designed by anyone in the current crew. We have decorated it somewhat and made it feel our own. Although, again, I expected to sleep past another orbit before I got to spend any more time here. But
yeah, sorry about that. Our ship threw us in your direction, unfortunately.
But my associate was looking at the sort of the little black box modules on your cryopods. It's a very strange circumstance. As far as your vessel could determine, the reactor core was hit by more than one micrometeorite from different directions, which is certainly a stress condition that it's phenomenally unlikely, but space is a big place, right?
Yeah, feel like that's something I would have been monitoring for, and that's odd. Is that something I normally would be able to tell, or
if there was, you would know as an experienced pilot that usually fast-moving small objects are because something bigger broke up.
Yeah.
And then you would detect a swarm. But at the speeds that things move in open space, it doesn't have to be, undetectably small items can be winging around.
Gotcha.
But you wouldn't expect to get two of them.
Yeah.
Mostly there's nothing. So it's at least a freak accident, and you might when you find yourself with a monitor, like try to do some math on it and go back and look at your black box as well.
Yeah.
Because again, the AI dumped whatever it could figure out, but it did not have a lot of time.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I found a cozy place to sit and just kind of take a load off for a minute and just kind of get my bearings. Not a lot to do, at the moment for a pilot on a ship that's not his. So just kind of wait for the captain to show up. Probably, and if not anytime soon, I'll go seek him out.
Very good. We know that Pritchard's checking things out quietly. Allison and Wanga, anything else you want to address before dinner? We can just move ahead to the first shared meal, if you'd like.
Yeah, I think that's fine. He's probably just been sitting in his cabin, looking at his family photo. He wasn't able to grab his gaming system when they left, so he's kind of bored.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the good news I think you'll find when you make it to the lounge is that boredom is the kind of thing that's their job, is to try to figure out how not to be too bored. So if they don't have what you want to play, unfortunately downloading things takes forever when you're between planets, but they probably have a comparable material. So the ship has daylight and evening lighting built in. Again, it has been determined that maintaining a common diurnal rhythm is relatively helpful. So as the light aboard the Deimos 23 gets dusky, there's a gentle tone, and the ship's AI says that dinner will be in 10 minutes. And the drill, again, is common on reasonably functional ships. There's a vat of complex organic chemistry and some good printers and heating and cooling devices. So if you want a meal that isn't extremely particular, then you can just have it printed out.
My preference being vegetarian, but I mean, that's a luxury at this point.
Well, I mean, none of the organic compounds that are being extruded came from animals, although some of them have genes that were from animals, but there are no neural tissues involved unless you, again...
No animals were killed, right?
No animals were killed on this ship, no.
Yeah,
or
fine.
Generations ago, for that matter. But you can have, tofu and lemongrass. You don't need to have, extruded chicken McNuggets. And for that matter, pilot Adrian at least will be relieved to know that, there aren't any protocols on this vessel against intoxicants. So you can print out a bourbon just as easily as you could a milkshake. And there's an ovoid table in the dining area. And again, you probably want to drink out of a sippy cup because the gravity is marginal enough that it would be pretty easy to make a mess, and messes, even with some gravity, are a bigger deal in space than they are here. You don't want to breathe in any little milk globules because somebody shook his glass too hard.
Easier than what we were dealing with on the Kukulkan. So
it's so much easier. The light grav toilets are a dream comparatively. And so at dinner, you're going to be introduced to the other two characters on board the Deimos. Some of you haven't met Asuka Menendez yet, but she's there. She's a very friendly little person. She kind of, she doesn't. She might have written down some funny things she heard someone say and memorized them so that she could socialize effectively. She doesn't seem super spontaneous, but she seems eager to interact, as opposed to a fellow who is introduced as Marco Santino. He was the technician on the Deimos 23, and he's like, he's polite and shy. You hadn't seen him before, but maybe he was, puttering around doing something useful, or who knows. And the last member of the crew is Kabare Sankara, who's a slight, kind of intense-looking black man who looks to be in his 20s, which means he's probably in his 50s. And when you come in, he shakes each of you by the hand, and he does the little two-hand clasp thing. He's like, "I'm very glad to meet you. Welcome aboard." And he looks you sort of searchingly in the eye. And he says, I hope that you're feeling better after being revived. I hope that you have a good journey with us. You may have heard I'm a psychoanalyst. I'm studying the effect of long-term travel in interplanetary vessels like this. I've been doing it for a few years. This is my 4th appointment. I've been with this crew awake for a few months before we settled in for the sleep, and now we're going to make adjustments. I'm gonna be helping Captain Igor figure that out, because we've shaken up the balance of things because of the starting and stopping. Right. So I'm yes, welcome. So that's the crew. You've met everybody. And what are you gonna eat? What are you gonna eat?
Oh, something vegan, but yeah. Well, you said tofu and lemongrass sounds delicious. So that's what I'll bread up.
The brown rice, when you look at it closely, like, every grain is identical to every other grain. Like, this is the thing with space food. Like, it tastes pretty, it's nutty, it's rice-like, but if you could lay them all out on your plate and turn them carefully, and they would just be, 600 of the same grain of rice, which is a little weird.
There's something magical about home-cooked meals with real stuff, but yeah, we're used to it.
I'm having a bowl of rice, just basic brown rice. Sounded great. And a side of bourbon. I'm gonna find a seat next to Allison whenever she's got whatever she's eating.
Allison. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, let's hope they can print you out a liver, Adrian.
I've got a plan for that whenever we get back. I'm on a waiting list for a grown liver to be put in.
It's what the anti-intoxication pills are for. Drink as much as you want.
That takes the fun out of it. If you don't suffer, you didn't do it right.
Well, I, for one, am not going to be shy about it. I'm on my 3rd 3D printed Mai Tai, and I have a Meat Lover's personal pan pizza that I've printed out. Hell yeah. And I'm like, guys, look at it. Look at it this way. We're going to get so much hazard pay when we get back. And then for 8 months, we don't got to do squat on this ship, right? Like, this is the best thing's ever happened to us.
Well, Miss Garrett, we do want to make ourselves useful if we can.
Well, sure, but it's not like we have to run the damn ship or anything. We can just. It's easy street, Cap. Live
I,
it up.
I imagine you and Mr. Cohen will have things that you can assist with running the ship.
Yep.
I think it's going to be more difficult for the scientists. Although there's a lovely little garden over there. Miss Menendez has been working on it. Not sure how much amusement you're going to get out of it.
We
Yes,
can.
it's hard to feel that now that our purpose is gone, I feel like I'm not useful.
Well, Asuka Menendez pipes in. While we're up, we can. If I understand you're a biologist, we can take cuttings of some of the more attractive things and them in new media and enjoy ourselves that way. And I'm always curious about people's research. So if you want to show me any of the things that you discovered around Europa, that would be fun too. I've never been to Europe. I mean, I was born in Europe, but I haven't been back for. So.
I appreciate what you're offering, but my research was going to be of the creatures that were living under the ice in the ocean. So I would certainly look at your plants, but I'm not sure how much information I could extract from the plants that you have here on the ship for what I was originally purposed for.
I think Mr. Mr. Alcazar, that the idea was just to pass the time.
Yes, it will help.
I do lean over to Allison as we're like, listen.
Yeah.
Till the captain says otherwise, we're off the clock. So
yeah,
I mean, let's just see how fucked up we can get.
Oh, Cohen, I got you. Ever mix uppers and downers? We're gonna give it a go. See what happens.
Just while we're not on the clock.
You got it.
When captain says jump, we need to be able to jump.
Straight up. I went to Yale. I know what I'm doing. Don't worry, I got this, man.
But Wonga's like looking at Adrian and Allison very disapprovingly and just shaking his head like in disgust.
Wonga, do you want in on this? Like you want I can print you out a Mai Tai or 5. Like,
No, I don't think your idea of a good time is my idea of a good time.
Oh, man.
I think we have more serious things to worry about. We had a mission, and now we're not going to be able to complete that.
I mean, we had a mission. You're right. We currently don't have a mission other than, be here until we get where we're going and hop on another ship.
Well, I would hope that we could all comport ourselves still professionally.
Mr. Cohen, Miss Garrett, let's bear in mind that these are somebody else's resources that we're using here. Let's not overdo it.
You're right, Captain. I will not overdo. You're absolutely right.
Got it, Cap. You got it. And for what it's worth, Wonga, I mean, sky's the limit. Who knows what's going to happen, right? Like, you were studying stuff on Europa, right? Maybe there's stuff on Neptune to study. You know what I mean?
That could be, but we have a very long while before we reach that planet.
There may be some stuff that Miss Alcazar, you can assist Mr. Chen in his analysis of the data that he received from Europa.
Yes, I would be interested in some of the scans of the ice that you were able to get.
Yeah, and I definitely stay away from any depressants, Wonga. Like booze, you know what I mean?
Oh, I don't drink.
It's good for your health. Me neither.
Well, how do you think I stay so young looking?
Yeah, I haven't managed that one. I think it's the radiation I've been exposed to.
Uh, Captain Igor pipes in. It's like, well, guests, we are, as your captain has already noted, Mr. Alcazar, we have to accommodate each other. But I will say that in terms of resources, again, we're going to be compensated for having to slow down and pick you up and being out of stasis. And what we're delivering is supplies to this Neptune base. So it's not like a few kilograms extra X or Y is going to go noticed missing, right? I mean, we can siphon off enough to all grow morbidly obese in the course of 8 months. I don't recommend it, particularly at moon gravity. You don't want to try to settle into a reasonable situation. I'm just saying, the only commodity we have limitations on, right, is space. And the commodity we don't have limitations on is time, food and drink. Time. Got a lot of time on our hands. So whatever we can accommodate, we'll try to do that. The other thing that's notable is that while you guys were having your sort of morning after conversation, the psychoanalyst kept rubbing the bridge of his glasses, and he's obviously taking extensive notes on every, and maybe recordings. He's definitely at work. He's probably got the most responsibility now of anybody else on the ship, since it's mostly driving itself and so on.
Yeah, I think when I said the thing about depressants, I would have tried to get his eye and been like,
yeah, and he clocked that, and he came back to look at you with a sort of speculative gaze as well, because he doesn't know whether you're narking out the other user in an attempt to avoid scrutiny, or if you've got another motivation. But he's not a relaxed guy. He's watchful, professionally, after all. So dinner winds down. By broad social agreement, nobody plays music in public spaces. But the lighting continues to sort of suggest Betty Bye. Definitely the fellow Martin goes to the printer, and Marco goes to the printer and prints out, if any of you are familiar, the unmistakable funk of valerian tea. He slips out and presumably bunks down. He's not excited about introductions. Again, and for anybody, it's possible that a little eccentricity is understandable because you're all still adjusting from your cryo. In 48 hours, unless something went terribly awry, you should feel 100% like yourselves. Probably Pilot Cohen is going to take a little longer to recover, or maybe a little less time, depending on just the spin of the wheel, whether getting into his standard groove of too much to drink overwhelms the hangover from the cryo, or whether it sort of makes that reawakening a little laggier and more clunky. He could get lucky or not.
Are we sharing rooms with
No,
other people?
They're basically, they're almost like those Japanese sleep-only hotels.
Pods? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're it's a big pod. It's the size of an old style phone booth. There's a place to lie down, strap in if you need. There's a little work area. There's a screen. They're attached to probably every three of them share a water closet of some kind, which again, modified for different circumstances. And they're pretty soundproofed.
I'll return to my bunk and I will meditate, go over everything in my mind of what's happened so far, and then probably go to sleep.
Excellent. Would you roll power for me?
Sure. Okay, 61. What's my POW? I got a 65, so I got 61 out of 65.
How long does it you a long time practitioner, how long does it usually take you to feel a little bit? Thom seized.
Yep, I seized. How long does it take me to
feel as though you've achieved a degree of meditative state?
20 minutes, I'd say.
20 minutes. So after 20 minutes, you feel completely as jangled and normal and socialized as you usually do. Like it's just, you're not. It feels quite odd. It feels as though, again, did you drink
my place?
You're not finding the place at all. It's as though you've been cut off from something. And
I'd probably dismiss it as just the difficulties of the whole thing.
Yeah. Did you, I don't know, did you drink the broth?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So maybe it's the amphetamines that are keeping you at some rate that isn't normal.
Mm-hmm.
And after another, period of you breathing and, approaching what you're accustomed to, you get to a comfortable, a soothing kind of state. It's not the state. It's not the satisfaction that you're looking for, or
right.
but you get into a good rhythm. You're feeling your breath, and probably tomorrow you'll be able to, or the day after, it'll be like it usually is. But it is. You notice something it's an unfamiliar kind of difficulty. Doesn't feel like years ago when you didn't have a practice yet. It feels like something got bumped.
Yeah. I've been disrupted, but I will eventually just give up and I will go to sleep.
Any other business before retiring?
I believe Wonga wants to collect some data sticks from Mr. Chen about the ice readouts, and he probably wants to go over some of the analytics before he retires.
Oh yeah, I managed to keep most of that. I don't know how much biological significance this has, but there you go.
It could also help with pinpointing a spot where the ice is maybe thinner on the planet, more appropriate for us to be able to drill through it.
What kind of animals do exist on Europa? I'm unfamiliar with aliens.
Well, we not exactly alien life, very familiar to what we would find on Earth, but there could be microorganisms, small fish, shrimp, and possibly even octopi.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, it is.
The scans you were doing, you were looking at things moving and trying to figure out whether they were biological or whether it was tectonic or circulation in fluid systems that wasn't alive. So the two of you can put your heads together and start focusing on areas of motion that might be a school of tiny organisms or a larger thing. But basically it's shapes of movement that you're trying to read through layers of scan. Good. And are you gonna stay up doing that a little bit, or are you gonna,
yes. Yes.
Yeah. Any other pre-sleep activity?
Once Wonga and Chen leave, I'm just gonna keep making various alcoholic beverages until I stumble into my bunk and go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going drink for drink.
Hell yeah.
And by, ship 10 o'clock, both of you hearty souls are like finding it a slog. Like where you should be hitting a rhythm of hearty partiness, like the 3 months you were at 34 degrees starts to really remind you that like there's nothing in your gut, like you're like it's just and so the supper effect you're like, this is fun, we should, and then somebody knocks something over and you're like, oh fuck, we didn't, fun starts later.
Yeah. I'm going to go get a drink of my stuff, Allison. I'll be back.
All right.
I do not return. I fall into bed.
Perfect.
Maybe Allison just keeps hitting them and falls asleep in the sunken living room in the lounge, it's bad news. Yeah.
Yeah, all
Interestingly,
classy like.
how you introduce yourself to a new community.
Mhm.
Allison, you're going to find yourself in your bunk when you wake up. So you'll have to ask or not about who helped you and how. Nothing seems out of order except that you don't know how you got there.
I don't know about you guys. I'm having a great time on this ship.
So, in the morning, after a period of time, you find yourself awake. To one degree or another, hungover, but probably more pleasantly than coming out of the stasis. Maybe not enormously more pleasantly. There's, again, the ship is lit for morning, which is an unaggressive, slightly roseate ambient light that you can control inside your individual sleep pods to some extent. There isn't really, the ship has an ambient hum, but you don't notice it really after any period of time. It's just constant. There are window screens and they show, a brilliant variety of distant stars, and they don't seem to move. Nothing seems to move.
I'll move towards the dining area to get some coffee. Got a bit of a headache. Though I didn't drink anything. I'm just off my usual game.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go in and get some coffee.
As you enter it, the lounge already smells like coffee and a little bit like baked goods. And the only person there is Kabare Sankara, the analyst. And he's stirring a tall, dark coffee, and he nods at you and asks how you're settling in, and if you how he says, how do you feel about having your work at Europa interrupted so suddenly? Is that very jarring for you? Are you looking forward? Do you have an idea of what your next mission will be?
Well, to answer your first question, I'm not really a scientist. My mission was going smoothly, in that all I really had to do is maintain the ship and, keep discipline on the ship. I am disappointed that the ship is lost, and I'm not sure what Central Command will appoint me to the next time, but it might be some time before I gain another ship. They'll have to find an opening, There's only
Mm-hmm.
so many ships. I'm still getting used to the gravity. We were in zero gravity. Now we've got a little bit of gravity. I didn't sleep very well. I wasn't able to meditate very effectively.
Not
And
surprising. Did you feel very endangered when you realized you had to evacuate the Kukulkan?
as a captain, of course, I mean, we all feel things they're normal. I took myself into the discipline and I made sure that nobody understood that I myself was a little bit unnerved, but we survived, and that's a good thing. Um, I had
Captain
some
Huang,
strange.
what do you think of the crew of the Deimos
Oh,
so
they seem
far?
likable. They seem like likable. You've been with them longer. They. How do you feel about them? I suppose would be the real question.
I got along with the crew of the Deimos very well in our first months. Yes, as it happens, I uh, quite like the crew of Deimos 23. I enjoyed the initial stage of traveling with them. Um, I haven't, it seems, entirely recovered myself from stasis. I have been feeling out of sorts. Something is bothering me. Um,
I can relate to that.
yeah, I'm sure it'll pass. I actually haven't had this side effect, however, from previous, but we weren't on schedule when we were wakened. So perhaps that, that whatever, it's not my field. Um, Maybe I will actually begin a sub-study of that very question, that the interaction of long distance travel in the big dark and the strange starts and stops of
Yeah,
cryogenic sleep.
I do think that Captain Igor is a fine captain. He suggested to us yesterday that you would be asking us questions. I think as a result, I had some odd dreams last night about being asked questions, but I barely remember anything from them. You kind of reminded me by asking me questions as you were.
Maybe
I'm sure
the
it'll all
captain,
pass.
maybe the captain gave you the idea that you'd be questioned, and that's why you had it in your
Yes,
dream.
I'm sure that's it. He did say that. Uh,
Now, Wonga at this point, he kind of
Morning,
sets his
Wonka.
coffee cup down. Good morning, Captain. Um,
Captain
you were
Alcazar?
you were saying something about having an odd dream last night.
Yeah, I don't know. I usually I meditate before bed, and I wasn't able to meditate, and I drifted off into sleep, and just seemed like I think it was combination of being in a strange place where it's not so strange in that it's strange. It's just a place we're not used to, and you know I felt out of sorts. I felt like somebody was asking me questions. Um, Everything seemed distorted. It was very blurry. Just the kind of odd things you have. I don't believe in interpretation of dreams, except they usually tell you something about yourself when you interpret them yourself.
That may
I have a
be,
lot of
but I also had a dream very similar to what you're describing. A faceless person, I couldn't make them out, was asking me questions and they were insistent and I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. Is that what you experienced?
something like that. Dr. Sankara, would this be a normal uh, feeling for people disoriented by being on a new ship?
Um, sleep disturbance, of course, is not at all unusual. Sleeping in any strange place, let alone a different interplanetary vessel. Did either
What
of
is
you
it
have
called
any?
when? I'm sorry.
I was wondering if your dream included something like an explosion.
No, I didn't have an explosion, but
I heard a loud noise.
No.
there was a noise. I do remember a little bit of sleep paralysis as well, so I wasn't sure that I wasn't half awake.
Very interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah, I can identify with the sense of being questioned. Um, that's something that I recall from vaguely from sleep, but I remember sparks. I'm sure there were sparks and a flash in my dream. So
Don't
I guess
remember anything like that.
I guess they're not the same.
Well, it is
I'm
odd
sure
that we all had the same, very similar type dream.
Well, I I know very little about. I know a little bit of psychology, but I imagine that our experiences are limited right now. We're only seeing a few rooms inside of a spaceship that's very small in the vast emptiness of space. We've been living in for months on a space station with very small, limited experience. This fact that our dreams are somewhat similar might not be that unusual. It might make an interesting study, Doctor, if people locked in, maybe people in submarines or something like that might have similar dreams.
None of the previous vessels I've been on have I seen anything like a synchronization of dreams. But you have had a particular experience, after all, that's distinct, being suddenly induced to stasis at an arbitrary period of time and going from free fall to significant gravity, etc. Maybe I'll definitely follow up.
We'll have to ask Misters Chen and Cohen and Miss Garrett when they get over their binge of, I don't expect them to wake up for another few hours.
Well, could it
I
have
was
been
not
the
binging.
brew, the stasis brew? Is there anything in that would cause sleeplessness or
I imagine
dreams?
it's manufactured by the same people that manufacture our own.
Oh, you mean Captain Igor's broth?
Mm.
No, that's. I mean, he's basing it on regular product, but it's his own. He's very proud of it. It's and there are amphetamines in it, so it might have affected your slumber.
No, I'm not used to any kind of stimulants, so other than coffee. Are amphetamines stimulants or are they depressants? Okay. Shows you what I know.
Well,
Jen,
I
Garrett,
don't know.
Cohen, you all actually woke up. You know, the built-in wall clock, which is standard. You know, ship standard. We're pretending that time's something that exists over distances when we know it doesn't. And when you get to a new place, everything has to be recorrelated because you're traveling at a speed significant enough that you're losing. You're experiencing time at a different rate than where you're ending up. Everybody, all of you woke up at 8 a.m.
Oh, God damn it. Oh, I need coffee. I need coffee right now. And I 3D print the blackest coffee the ship can make. And I crack a raw egg in it and Tabasco and lemongrass. And I'm like, oh, God, just trying to get that hangover cure going.
The ship doesn't bother wasting calcium to build an egg structure.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It'll give you a little paper couplet that has a yolk and white-like substance in it that you can pour in.
That is so much worse. But yes, I will do that.
What can you expect? So when you come in, when you make your way in, perhaps having taken a little more time in your communal bath than some of the others, you'll find the therapist and your captain and biologist having a little bit of a an intense little convo. And
Did you guys keep it down over there? Like, oh my God. You don't have to yell.
Rough night.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say that. Ah, shit. I gotta quit with this the booze and I can't do this. Terrible. Slept like shit.
Will you be able to survive quitting at this point?
Yeah, I'm fine. Fuck. I think it's too early in the morning for this shit. Like, awful night. Terrible. Bad dreams. Toss and turn. Just, I'm swearing off the booze from now on.
More bad dreams.
What do you mean more bad dreams, Captain?
Seems like the three of us are also having bad dreams. Mr. Chen, were you having unusual dreams?
Yeah, I had a dream where I was immobilized and someone was interrogating me.
Okay. That's going to trigger the sand check for all of you who are present.
Baby.
I'm okay. I think that it's all just explainable.
I failed.
I'm in there.
Oh, I failed.
It's just it's a 0-1. So if you failed, it's gonna rankle. If you passed, you're like, dreams, space, stasis. If you failed, it's like,
Mr. Cohen, are you in on that too?
Yeah, I had a dream last night that I was like, I don't know, it was like talking to like an over chatty 4-year-old, just question. And I was like stuck and couldn't move, but it's booze induced dreams,
That's the dream I had. Did we all have the same dream?
We do seem to have, yes.
Sounds like it.
That's not a thing that happens, right?
Well, except that we've all just experienced the same thing. We were 3 months in stasis.
Yeah, Captain's right. We've been through the same thing, kind of traumatic. I had to leave our home for the past few months pretty quickly. And I think there'd be a lot of shared experience in that. Captain knows what they're talking about.
Did any of you hear a loud noise or a loud explosion in your dreams?
Yeah, I did. It's terrible. Just like awful sound. What? I couldn't see who was talking either.
There was a noise, yeah. Some sort of just, I don't know, is viscerally awful.
The only truly odd thing is that the doctor was not on our ship, and he's having the same dream.
Yes, although it's different, so perhaps it isn't as anomalous as... So yes, I also felt as though I was being questioned by an unfriendly... an enemy or something, and I couldn't get away. But I also dreamt of a violent eruption, an explosion, or definitely sparks. Otherwise, it would, when we woke you from cryogenics, of course we were talking to each other and talking to you, and you hadn't planned to go into stasis or prepared for it. So the being immobile makes sense with being in stasis, and hearing voices and feeling them uncomfortable makes sense. But I wasn't with you on that.
Is it possible the other crew of the Deimos didn't go to bed immediately? maybe we were hearing them talking in the hallways.
You sound the ship.
Yeah, the sleeping pods are fairly well soundproofed. I don't, since I wonder where the rest of the crew is. And as he says that, Cap, Igor, and Asuka come in, and they seem to have been chatting, and they're like, "Oh, welcome guests. You're figuring everything out, I trust," says Captain Igor. And Asuka's like, I could have a fruit cup. I love a cup of fruit. I love a fruit in the morning. Fruits for me. Grapes and bananas.
We were having an interesting discussion here. How did the two of you sleep, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, Asuka answers, first, I tucked myself in and turned to my left side, which is how I prefer to sleep, and then I dreamt. And then I got up. It was 8 o'clock in the morning.
Describe your dream, if you will, if you recall.
I dreamt of my childhood. I dreamt of my childhood home. I had a pet.
You sure you didn't dream about getting interrogated in an explosion?
Yes, I'm quite sure. Can an explosion interrogate?
What you, Captain?
Can I psychology her to see if she's lying?
Absolutely.
Oh, I passed. 21.
So you're looking to see whether she's lying about dreaming of her childhood pet. And you don't think she dreamt of her childhood pet. You also don't think she dreamt of explosions or interrogation. She might not have had any dreams at all. And when you're trying to read her, what are you looking to interpret?
I'm probably going to look at like her eyes and her hands.
Mm-hmm. Asuka Menendez, her hands are a little bit fluttery, but that's been kind of consistent. She doesn't seem to be taken aback and freeze or flutter faster. When you try to make eye contact with her, she looks like she's looking at you, except that her focus is like so far behind your head. Like she's trying to look at you, but she doesn't know how. It's so you don't feel like, oh, she's trying to pull one over on me, but you do feel disconcerted.
In observing this, can I also roll a psychology roll?
Absolutely.
Something 33 out of 50, regular. She seems very cheery, but is she cheery or is she putting on airs? Is she making this something about the fact that she stutters and repeats herself occasionally has put me on edge, like something having a glitch instead of being. Does it sound like she's stuttering, or does it sound like she's repeating herself with the same exact inflection each time she?
You're not a professional, but you do have experience reading people because you're a leader. It doesn't seem to you like she has a speech impediment, but maybe she's got neurological damage or something. It's not. It is. It's. You're not sure that you've experienced this particular mannerism in other people's speech.
And I'm too polite to actually say it out loud, but I'll make note of it that she seems, I don't know, it doesn't feel like normal psychological functioning to me. How about the captain? Captain, how did you sleep? Did you dream?
I always sleep like a baby. My my wife complains about it when the little ones were tiny and she was woken by their crying. Never bothered me at all. I'd be useless if the house was set on fire. I sleep very regularly. Usually I don't have a lot of dreams. I usually have sort of little sort of soothing vignettes as I'm drifting off, and then I'm out like a light. Yep.
You're married.
Oh yeah,
Children.
yeah. But I like my space too. It can be a stressor, I have to admit. But we've come to peace with it. You know, when I'm home, I'm very much at home, and then I'm away for a while. Going to be a little longer this time, so I'm going to be home for a little longer when this is over.
Where is home, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, we're still on Earth, actually. We're still on Earth. Yep, yep, yep. This isn't three little ones. Yep. So, and that, by the way, unless something comes up, we're going directly back after Neptune. So, the whole run might be a little more than a year and a half, but maybe somebody will. I know some of you came from Mars, so maybe somebody will rendezvous on the way back. But again, the speeds that we need to operate at usually it's like you get where you're going, right?
Well, do
Hopefully
you
at the
think there would
station they'll
be?
have.
I was just going to ask, do you think there would be any way for you to contact Central Command and find out if my skills would be useful on Neptune? At least I could do some research while we're traveling there and maybe help with whatever is going on the planet.
Well, friend, the bridge is available to anybody as long as you don't like try to change course. And all the communications rays up there. You know, again, in between planets, sometimes the subspace signal a little wobbly. We probably wouldn't directly contact anybody from the Confederation that's based on Earth, Venus, and Mars. You'll get people who are already in the outer reaches, but they will be able to relay things. So you can just, make whatever phone calls you like. Yeah. There's no long distance fee. There's just long lag times.
Very good. I think I'll do that then.
Sure thing. Has anybody seen Marco yet today, or is he having another gloomy day?
Yes, so far.
Did Marco happen to partake with Mr. Cohen and Miss Garrett last night? Maybe he's suffering also.
I think Marco skipped out pretty early.
Yeah, he left right after dinner, right?
Yeah, just kind of squirreled out the side.
Yeah, he's I think the thing he likes best about the cold, dark void of space is the cold, dark void of space. He's not a people person. He's always writing games. Maybe he'll let us in on one of these days. Writing and playing and doing his work. That's our little fella. If you can get him, if any of you is good at Go, you might be able to get him out of his closet.
Really? I'm very good at Go.
Worth a try. If you want to drag the fella out.
Well, that sounds quite interesting. Perhaps later.
And, since you've got me thinking about family, maybe I'll record something to send back. Yeah, I mean, there is news after all. Met new people, change of course. Again, it's going to back a little later, which could be, but we'll figure it out. Enjoy your breakfast, folks. See you at lunch. We do that 1 p.m. ship time. And he scoots out unless you grab him.
Miss Garrett, walk with me for a minute.
Yeah, you got it, Cap. What's up, Cap?
You need to pull yourself together.
Oh, I know, Cap. I'm sorry. The ship blew up, and then I'm sorry, Cap. It won't happen again.
Did you observe Miss Sankara's odd behavior, as if she was having some sort of mental repetition? It's perhaps I'm paranoid, but it seemed a little bit almost like some sort of android glitch.
What? Android?
I mean, I don't actually know how far our technology has gotten on androids, but it is 200 years in the future. So,
actually, to that end, there was the ship's AI has a very even-keeled and clearly mechanical voice. Lifelike android technology has been more or less abandoned. People don't like it.
I don't know. It was odd to me. Some sort of mental glitch, psychological. There shouldn't be anybody on board that has psychological problems. But
Cap, what are you saying here? Like we apparently all shared the same messed up nightmare dream last night, and now you're saying people that might be like, is there something going on here?
Odd here. Something is odd here. I don't want to alarm you. I'd like you just to keep your eyes and ears open.
Yeah, you got it, Captain. I'm gonna get a little more of this black coffee in me, and yeah, I'll be good to go.
Talk to the others about it when you're in private with them.
Yeah, you got it. You do you think I should check out like the ship's logs database? Get in, see if I can find anything.
I would like you to make sure everything is hunky-dory on the ship. Was it Mr. Marcos, who is the Mr. Santino, who is the technician? Perhaps you can convey with him. Tell him also that I might be interested in a game of Go.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find him, Cap. Sure.
I'm going to go back to my quarters and make an entry in my log. Can I say that maybe the one thing that I grabbed when I left the ship was my captain's log?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
It might have been linked to the pod.
Right. Okay. So I'll go make an entry.
So Alcazar wants to go to the bridge and make some calls. Allison's going to look for Santino. Wang's going to visit his log. Cohen and Chen.
I'm actually going to follow Alcazar towards the bridge.
Good.
I think I'm going to go into the 70s room because that is just weird.
Yeah. If you don't, if you don't, if she hasn't preceded you, Asuka Menendez will be in there again. She's got a little stool that she doesn't really need, that she moves around and clambers up, and she's just fussing over these plants like it's high-speed bonsai. Like she just has to adjust every single plant all the time. She's like got a little pad that she uses to adjust the artificial lighting, as if etc. And she's happy to see you.
Yeah, I'm gonna observe her for a while and then probably, against my better judgment, go talk to her.
Are you very interested in plant life as well?
Uh, sure. I love plants. Yeah, I mean, the green.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, not always, of course. They're red and purple on Earth, is standard variety, and white and yellow. And yes, yeah. But the chloroform, of course, chlorophyll, of course, is very important. That's one of the things, of course, that you'd be looking for on Europa, I suppose, is what sort of color things could make energy with under the ice of a moon. Moon. What a word, isn't it? Moon.
You know, I appreciate your love for the English language.
Yeah, I'm originally a Spanish speaker, you know. I went to
Oh,
the American University of
oh,
Madrid. That's where I come
that's
from.
great.
Luna is also a beautiful word, don't you think?
Yeah. So what are you doing with these plants, man?
Just a way to kill time, you know?
Yeah. You seem to just be moving them back and forth rhythmically.
No, it's, wow, the ancient art of flower arrangement. It's sort of like that, but they're living things. And, I have to always leave them in a position where if I have to go away, then they'll be perfectly all right. But then I can appreciate also their dynamism. I love the dynamics of living systems.
Yeah, what do you think about the living systems that are not plants on this ship, namely the humans?
Well, this is a this was a this is a very agreeable crew, and I'm sure that the addition of your crew will also prove fruitful and interesting, Mr. Chen. Is it hard for a planetologist to be so far away from any planets?
Yeah, I mean, not much for me to do here. I just have my data from Europa. I mean, if you want to check it out,
Hmm, it could be very interesting, yes. We have a lot of time to kill. A lot
yeah,
of time to
you
kill.
mentioned that. You mentioned that. Um, yeah, we all had this weird synchronized dream. We all had the same dream, except for you and the captain.
How do you know it was the same dream? How do you compare dreams?
Well, with words.
Dreams are always the same, though, aren't they?
No.
More or less. Not real things, just images that are confusing that you don't remember when you wake up. Isn't that right? That's how it is for me.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just backing away.
Very well. Let's visit the bridge and then we'll have a short break. Alcazar and Cohen are headed up to the fore of the ship. Um, Captain Igor again, has made his way there. He's got a little, he's brought some coffee with him and a very clean tube of pastry that won't leave crumbs that settle badly and get into machinery. And when you come in, he's like, there isn't a lot of work to do. I gotta say, it's not a lot to do right now. Mostly the taking off and the landing. That's the interesting part. Little adjustments in between, but the computer really does most of that. But I like being up here, I like feeling, you must know what that's like, right?
Oh, I love being in the chair.
Yeah. You should take the chair for a little while, just to, go crazy. But it feels nice, right? You're seeing the way things are. You're seeing the front of the action.
The action, huh?
I mean, I'll sit in the chair. I move over, kind of slide to the pilot chair. I feel kind of gross about it. I'm in, as a pilot, I'm in someone else's job essentially. So I'm not comfortable. I kind of keep shifting around, looking at the buttons. They don't quite match what, I had though. In my early years of piloting, I did a couple long haul,
Mhm.
type things, but it's somewhat familiar, but, not. And I just, maybe after a minute or two, I kind of get back up and awkwardly like stand and, you know,
Yeah, I know where you're coming from. It's just if you're not running the show, it feels kind of hollow, right?
yeah. I mean, if I'm not putting in the coordinates and, you know, making
Yeah.
it move, it's just
Yeah.
taking up space, really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
seems like pretty much everything runs itself up here.
uh, most of the time, tiny adjustments, this thruster goes deep, 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 3.3 degrees harder because we didn't anticipate some subtlety, from 10,000 miles ago.
So you didn't have any other bumps or problems along the way before you ran into us?
No, sir. Oh, it was, the ship was in orbit around Venus for a while. We picked up mined material there, swung around Earth to Mars, where we got the majority of organic goop, which is most of what's in that big bulb underneath us. Uh, they're desperate for complex hydrocarbons out in the farther planets. And then we were just going to shoot right out to Neptune, but we had to pull in to visit you folks. Uh, you were so far out because so many moons, right, around Jupiter. Like they shot you into the middle of absolute nothing, so you didn't get whacked while you were sitting ducks. Um, so we had to do we spun down, woke up, did a little loop. Uh, help magnets help to get you all on board. I don't even begin to know the math of all that. That's not my pay grade. Probably the pilot could tell you more than I could, but the engineer more than that. Um, I'm more of a people person. So yeah, and now I think the computer and I again we're going to look for your captain's input, but I feel like we're going to keep one of my crew awake, uh, alternating with because you all shouldn't actually go into stasis for 6 months without us taking on a liability risk for your tissue damage. But we don't want to leave only your crew awake for any period of time because that leaves me open to other liabilities, paperwork. So, but I think we've got, roughly a broad plan for how we'll spend the next. It's looking like 7 months and 3 weeks ish until we drop this payload. Oh right, and you're looking for work on Neptune. You do biology.
Yes, mostly focusing on aquatic life. But I am interested. You said you collected goop, organic goop from Venus. You're not sure what
Uh,
it is?
no. The Venus was the uraniums, heavy elements. Mars, we got organic goo, but they've got these farms, these hydrocarbon farms, like
Hmm.
mostly over the surface of the planet, where they're just like growing algae or some kind of whatever that they make into the slurry that you make into your omelets.
Uh,
That's the just really hard to get long chain molecules when there's very little sunlight, when you're way out the hell on Neptune, which is why I don't think you're going to find any aquatic life. It's pretty cold out there.
Yes.
Unless you mean liquid methane, which might be under the surface of something. I don't know. Again, not my subject.
Right. Unfortunately, my expertise doesn't really fall under the chemical, but perhaps they would have something that they could assign me to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I appreciate that this is a waste of all your time, but it wasn't.
Are you all right? You paused for an extremely long time. Have you been having any side effects since we've been out of stasis?
Since you've been out of stasis, or since I've been out of stasis? I love my broth, and I feel like it helps me recover faster than most people do from being under. But it's not great. It's not great to come out from the big sleep. I mean, the medium sleep.
Yes, Dr. Sankara was telling us about your special broth. You made it yourself? Do you have a background in chemistry?
No, I've got a background in seafaring, as it were, and I've been in stasis a lot, and I've tinkered around with because basically they give you the same electrolytes, right, and an aspirin when you come out. I just like a little bit more.
Seafaring. That's very interesting background, seeing how I also am into the aquatics myself. Perhaps I could analyze your broth if you wouldn't mind.
You're absolutely welcome, little lady. I can give you the recipe. I mean, I can print it out. You can actually the extruder in the dining area. You can just press Captain Broth. I put the little apostrophe in there. But it's just water, electrolytes, amphetamines, a little protein, a little painkiller. It's just like I like to cut off the sharp edge of the whole darn.
Well, I appreciate it. It'll give me something to do.
You bet. You understand how the rig works for external communications?
Oh, I think so. It looks very similar to what we had on our ship.
It's about time I do my daily tedium jog. Just run back and forth in the left ring, the right ring, the left ring, the right ring for a little while so that I can feel like my heart rate's above, 0.2. But if you have any trouble with it, just, you can hit the buzzer and I'll come back up.
Oh, before you go jogging, could you help me? I kind of want to look at our black box data that the AI sent out. Just some things are odd to me.
Yeah, there's no problem at all. We fed, as far as I know, and I haven't looked closely because there wasn't any concern, each of your pods got whatever it shot out, whatever last data it had, and we've uploaded it, and you can find actually everything about Kukulkan should be in available in these folders here, and all of you have access to it. It's your data.
All right. Appreciate it.
I'll be seeing you folks.
And see you later, Captain. Adrian.
Too about water was just fascinating. I mean, I enjoyed every moment of it.
We glitched again there.
Okay.
We glitched right when the captain left the room before you guys started talking.
Okay.
Did you find anything about that odd, Adrian?
So I was lost throughout the whole water talk, which seemed fascinating to you two. To me, not really. So I was just looking at buttons and stuff. I did pick up on the weird pause that you picked up on, but I don't know. I mean, this guy doesn't seem like he's used to being awake for months at a time. He seems like he's used to just snoozing right through it, waking up for the end, and then going back to sleep. So,
well, I have to say that Miss Menendez and Captain Igor, for whatever reason, seem extremely positive and happy, which most of the time grates my nerves, but I am quite curious as to what they've been taking, because certainly a mood booster would be a relief at this point.
It's okay to have fun, Wong. I mean, Wonga, it's okay to have fun, right? I mean, you don't have to be just business all the time. You can unwind a little bit.
It's hard to unwind when a lot of your life is filled with regret.
Yeah, well, I don't know how to unpack that one, except with booze, which I have plenty of, and the ship can make plenty of. So maybe this night cycle, just have a drink, just a little unwinding, just a little unwinding.
We'll see what happens later. I'm gonna make this call, and then I want to study the broth.
I'm going to dive into these what happened to our ship, because I don't know, but just one micrometeor is a thing. Two, that's just kind of a freak show there.
That did seem very off to me as well.
And as that research begins, we will take a 5-minute break.
Okay.
5 minutes later.
Wonga is reaching out. Adrian is digging in. Remind me what everybody else is planning for the midday of your first full awake day on Deimos 23.
I was writing in my log and then just hanging out.
Allison is going to track down Santini and find them and question them about certain aspects of the ship.
Marco Santino, to be clear.
Santino, sorry.
Fine. You didn't see it written. And Pritchard, what was your plan?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at the ship's log to see what happened. Someone had that idea, and I thought it was a good idea.
Very good. All right. So, Wagha Alcazar, you put out basically a ping. It's interplanetary sub-ether radio contact is a little bit like the ham radio in an earlier part of the 20th century. You offer a signal to the world and see what happens. And the computer, after you bloop out, says that there are at least 3 other broadcasting substrates that you can communicate with. One of them is in Jupiter orbit. One of them is static on Ganymede, and one of them is a vehicle in transit. All of them potentially can link to other communications, but it's going to be a relay. It's going to take time. Do you want to send a short message or try to open a conversation, or?
Well, since you're saying it would take time, I think I would send out a message first, because I'm imagining that it would take a while to receive. I would like to try to contact the Jupiter transmission.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. So that you read that there is a orbital station called Eterna Prime. It existed before your mission. You probably interacted with them before, in fact. So you might know that there is a communications officer named Sophia, and you might get a response, a quick response, relatively quick, that acknowledges that the end of Kukulkan is something that they're aware of.
Right.
So there's like, you might get a ping back that's like, glad to know you've been found.
Okay.
And then you can send a message, and then you'll probably get something back in a couple of hours, depending on shifts and availability and lag.
Okay. So I'm thinking that Wonga wants to let Sophia know that they are on the Deimos 23, currently en route to Neptune. And if at all possible, if she could contact the Central Fleet to find out where they would like us to be assigned or what our next moves should be.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. So you can send that out, and you'll get a little, that little answering sub message that's like it's on its way, and you can be contacted directly via whatever you want to wear personally or in your little pod that somebody, it'll probably appear on a list that's encoded in the lounge.
Okay. Sure.
The Deimos 23 has little dongles that you can put on if you want to try to communicate more rapidly between you.
Okay.
Or, so whatever's comfortable.
So, Wonga will put on one of the dongles so that way he can be informed immediately, because I'm sure it will vibrate or make a sound whenever a message comes in. And because he did want to go and to the laboratory to study the captain's broth as well.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you can go to the lounge and hit the button to print out the broth.
Okay.
Or you can try to get a sample of, if you didn't finish yours, or there's still some, your pods are still in, again, there are a few little labs around the center hub.
Mm-hmm.
And your pods were all brought into one for your thawing out, basically.
Okay.
So you can either choose to print some fresh broth out or look at some old broth, but that might have somebody's DNA
saliva,
and a number of other contaminants.
Right. I'll just go to the synthesizer, the printer, print out a fresh batch.
Okay. Adrian, you're looking at the black box from Coco Khan.
Yes.
And you're looking specifically at what the AI could tell you about what happened at the core, right?
Right.
It's the AI, again, they stopped personalizing them more than 100 years ago because it just wasn't working. So it's a rather cool and measured description, but basically what all the information that is still on this account it's basically, you can look back through weeks and weeks of completely standard reports. Fluctuation here, atmospheric event, mostly nothing, maintaining orbit, everything's totally static.
Yeah.
And then it's only about 23 minutes of report from, anomaly at reactor core, and then like a bunch of schematics about because they're shielded, but they're also, it's a lot of energy contained in a small, forces inside and outside are in competition. So it's here's a thing that happened. We're not sure if there's a small leak. It's not sure if there's a small leak. Definitely a small leak. Seems to be another leak. Something's unstable. Instability is growing. Containment is uncertain. And at a certain point, within really the first 4 minutes, of there being maybe small events, the AI just determines that instability is so great that containment can't be guaranteed. And so the protocol just goes into place. Like, if we jettison the people and nothing happens, that's fine. If we don't jettison the people and this thing emits one violent conflagration and everyone dies and all the data is destroyed, then that's unacceptable. So nothing about it screams to you that it's impossible. At the same time, it's like a whole plane in Canada somehow flipped upside down and landed that way, but nobody died. It just doesn't seem like a thing that would ever happen.
Yeah.
If you were at war with anybody, you would think that this was an attack.
Right. Okay.
It's just weird. It's just a weird thing.
Yeah, but nothing outwardly just evident that I can pinpoint.
Every data point you look at is reasonable.
Okay.
The outcome is bizarre, but every data point is fine.
Yeah. Just feels very weird.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, after I finish that and satisfied but not satisfied at the same time, just shrug and walk back, in the direction of the lounge.
Now I've forgotten who's left or what's going on.
Allison's going to talk to Santino.
Right. Allison finds Santino in Santino's pod. He's not. When you like knock on the pod door or press the pod hello button or whatever, there's like a pause, like, hello, can I help you?
Hey, Marco, right? Santino? Marco?
Yeah, hi. That's Engineer Garrett, right?
Yeah, that's me. Call me Allison. Hey, I just had a couple general questions. We didn't get a chance to chat. And then also my captain, Captain Huang, is a Go player. Said you might be interested in a game of Go later. Your Captain Igor did.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be out. And like rustling sound and whatever this Marco Santino shuffles out. It's like, no, he'll feel a little anxious. It's like, okay. What can I help you with?
Hey, I was just wondering about oh man, my head, damn. Just the overall, like the ship's engines and how it's running. I just want to be useful, you know what I mean? Like, just thought I'd touch base with you and see what's going on. Maybe we could split some shifts up or something just to get something to do. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Well, yeah, Allison.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's going to be a lot of shift splitting since one of us will probably be unconscious most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I can show you around. It's a good ship. I think it's in good shape. I'm things are well maintained.
Yeah. I'd love a tour at least. At any rate, that would be good.
Yeah.
Break up the monotony. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Damn, you mind if we stop real quick in the lounge, get another one of these black coffees first? I had a terrible night, man. I just
Yeah, no, that's fine. Fine, we can go to the dining area and get you a coffee.
Yeah.
I like I take an espresso. Doesn't taste like real espresso, but it's pretty good.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll try it. Bad dreams last night. You know what I mean? Just bad stuff. You sleep all right here? I mean, the deep dark of the void here doesn't give you nightmares or anything like that?
No, I'm used to it. I mean, you're used to it. I'm used to it. No, it doesn't bother me. I don't I don't know that I had any dreams last night. I remember a dream about flying a kite, but I'm not sure if that was me. Anyway, uh, let's get your coffee and we can go and look at the engines and stuff. Which one of you guys plays Go?
Oh, that would be Captain, Captain Huang, great Go player, classically trained. Yeah.
Well, that would help pass some time. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll be happy to show you. I have made some small modifications because I think they help with deceleration. And in fact, coming to get the rest of you, I think you'll see. I'll see what you think of my work. But
Oh, great, great. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. You guys ever, I mean, the ship's AI too, you got, it looks like it's good. Did you ever have like humanoid robots on the ship or anything like that? That ever been a thing you guys were into ever?
oh, that's been out of fashion forever. Nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, when I was at Yale, we learned a lot about, the history of robotics, stuff like that. So I figured it would be a top conversation, you know what I mean?
Oh, Yale. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Yale, the best school in the world, you know what I mean? Like Harvard thinks they got us beat, but Yale all the way, you know what I mean?
All the way.
You all right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I am. Yep. Yep. I honestly, I was working on one of my little projects, and I was. Listen, I don't know. Anyway, get
Well,
your
no,
coffee.
tell me. Little project, what do you got going on?
Well, I'm trying to write my own games too, but the honest fact is that there isn't any game better than Go. I can model systems really beautifully, but there's nothing that plays as well as that game.
Yeah.
So,
Do you like a traditional like 32 by 32 board? Do you like a tighter, like a 16 or even a 9 by 9 just to spice it up, or even a larger board? Do you ever try that? Like a
32 by 32 is, it's the heart of it's a traditional game after all, and so
Yeah.
we often play traditionally. I love the sort of thought problem, like of just a 9 by 9 puzzle is interesting. If you put somebody into an awkward position and they can work their way out of it, that's interesting. But for open play, it's just the regular old boards. I love real stone pieces. I remember real stone pieces sliding a small piece of stone across wood.
Yeah, real stone, real wood. Yeah, exactly. Hey, you all right there? You kind of zoned out on me a little bit.
Huh.
You good
You
there,
haven't
brother?
had that coffee yet, have you? Let's get that coffee and we'll go and show you the engine room and
Uh-huh. Yeah.
yep,
Okay, great. Yeah, good.
yeah.
Good. Okay, great. Yeah. Okay, great. And I grip my like socket wrenches tighter. Great.
And you get your coffee and the nervous guy takes you back to the tail of the ship. Again, things are in pretty good order. You you can feel the thrum of acceleration back this far. You probably have a psychological feeling of warmth, even though obviously if there weren't significant shielding, your cells would be fried. But there's something about being near the engines and their subtle vibration as they're trying to drive you faster and faster. It seems like, given that you have the impression that you're on a ship of fools, like nobody's been leaving anything lying around. There's no panel that's flopped open. Everything's in order. If you ask a wall panel for an update on maintenance, everything's like punctilious.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll conclude with Santino, and I'll be like, this was great. We should definitely hang out again in the near future. But I'm going to go find the rest of my crew and just see how they're doing. So I'll let the captain know you're going to play Go with him. Yeah. All right. You take it easy, Santino. Yeah.
You take it real easy too.
Back away doing the finger guns.
Yeah, that's really
And then
cool.
I find the captain, Captain Huang. I'm like, yeah, something's wrong with this crew. They're all acting super weird, Cap. You're right.
Maybe it's just they're stir crazy.
They've been
Maybe
awake
they're just-
for like 2 days more than us, right?
They've been on these long haul things before. The captain said they'd been around Venus and Mars, and then it must get pretty monotonous.
Look, Captain, I'm not one to talk, but about maybe bad behavior on a voyage or getting a little stir crazy or whatnot. But like,
But have you actually seen them do anything wrong? I haven't.
No, I haven't.
I mean, I think that Sankara's she's trying to make the best of a bizarre situation. Not Sankara, Menendez. Menendez is trying to make the best of a long, boring situation. She seems obsessed with her plants, but
All right.
I mean,
All I'm saying is maybe the five of us should definitely stick close, if you know what I mean. We all have the same nightmare last night, even though I should have been a black the hell out drunk, and everybody's acting
we'll see
weird.
see if it goes better tonight.
Where are you having this conversation?
In the,
In my-
I don't know, the
my
middle of
pod.
the crew quarters with everybody around.
No, he came to find me. I was in my quarters type thing.
Good.
So
Right. So it's a one-on-one.
Yeah.
Okay. Time passes. You can all walk around the ship again. You'll run into some or none of these people. They'll all be more or less the way you've seen them. Before the dinner bell rings, there'll be a message for Wanga Alcazar. And it's not complicated. It's just, it's an acknowledgement from the station at Eterna Prime, logging that you are at a location, that you're at an acceleration, approximately moving toward Neptune, and that inquiries are being made about replacements. Probably, though, most or all of you will just be, unless there's a vessel that someone else needed to fly back, you'll probably just be returning toward closer to the sun on the Deimos 23, because there's just, the farther you get from the sun, the fewer things there are.
Right.
And the farther apart from each other they are. But if you, and there's an appendix that's like, if you want anyone in particular to know anything, they can send private messages through that mechanism, under that station. They can pass things on.
Okay.
There's a
But that
station at
indicates
Neptune.
that you're not isolated.
Right.
There's a station at Neptune, correct?
Mhm.
So maybe we can
Yep.
pick up some more reading material or something when we're there and bring it along with us. Some of the classics.
Well, for that matter, there'll probably be research materials, but they're not necessarily like it's more likely that the planetologist will find interesting activity there. Like it's possible that Chen can be shifted into a new project if he wants to stay out in the deep cold.
If it means not coming back home on this ship, then yes.
Right. Which presumably you're not saying aloud, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely not.
Yeah. So that is resolved, and everything moves toward the dinner hour, and the dinner hour is much the same as the dinner hour before. The captain is
Right.
bluff.
I think at dinner I'm gonna get a moment with our captain. And just Captain, I looked at our information from I don't know our core meltdown or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know everything. It's weird. It's weird because everything looks normal, but nothing feels normal about it. Like
Yeah,
if
the
someone were,
chances must be astronomical that anything that this took place.
yeah, I mean, if if anyone were to ask me or review it, there'd be nothing wrong. But it just doesn't feel right. What it feels like, I don't know. It's like if we were at war, or if like space pirates were a thing, then it would feel intentional, like someone did something to us. But that's not the case. Neither of those are the case. So I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me.
There are quite a few oddities going on right now.
I mean, yeah, this crew is.
Keep it in mind, and we'll continue to discuss it. We've all observed some oddities. Let's see if those oddities continue, or if it's just our psychologies getting used to these other people.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a game of Go with Marco Santino after dinner.
I mean, wipe the floor with that weirdo.
Well, I mean, I don't know what his skill level is. He doesn't know what mine is, so we'll see. He might be very good. He certainly had a long time to study it.
Yeah. Well, Captain, just real quick, I just want to let you know, regardless of what I do in my free time, and now that I have a lot of free time, I just want you to know, you say jump, I'm going to jump, and, just trust on, where I'm jumping to.
Of course.
Okay.
You've done an admirable job.
I just want you to let you know that, last night I was unwinding a bit, but it's under control. The unwinding will be metered out.
Moderation in all things is the
Yes.
best way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, I can go get a drink.
And I'll find, I'm sure Santino's here probably eating. So
The only time you can be fairly sure he'll show up because of communal meal times. Before you finish dining and separate, though, there's that little clatter of metal against glass, and Asuka Menendez stands up and says, "Ding, ding, 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 ding. Now that we've all had a full day together to get to know each other, I'm so happy to see that our little garden is growing. I know that we'll be experiencing different things at different times, and it's only the beginning of things. But I feel as though it's worth celebrating every stage and development of shared experience together. Shared. So I'd just like to acknowledge our first 24 hours of sharing our little family. And I'm having a special moment this evening. I'm having another fruit cup, but this time with tangerine. And I welcome you all to join me with the flavor of tangerine, which has an interesting membrane that then contains smaller membranes within that I find very, very distinct and special. And I'm going to be the first to rehibernate, I think, in only a few weeks. So I'll be missing some of your company, but I'll be awake earlier then to welcome you at later phases.
What does the psychiatrist think of this?
So you look over at Kabore, and he's sitting back against the chair and looking at her. Well, go ahead and roll. We'll see.
Did I do like spot hidden or psychology or something?
Do psych. Well, what's the difference between the two?
Very big. I have 73 spot hidden and 30.
Do spot hidden, but take 20 points off. You're not just looking for like a tag, but you're
I got 15, so I passed either way. Right. Actually, I'll spend for the extreme.
Okay. The only thing. So you're reading the situation very clearly. Kabore Sankara is weirded out by this behavior. Somebody he's been on board with for a long time. He is trying, you can tell that he's trying to maintain his composure, but he, like, more than one small movement on his face says that he's alarmed and concerned. And you can also see that he's like there's a moment where his hands are so tense and he consciously relaxes them because he doesn't want to be broadcasting that. And also the way his eyes are looking at her face is weird. It's just, like he's not wearing his glasses sort of thing. But he's unmistakably uncomfortable and trying to hide it. And a little bit, there's just the slightest sheen of perspiration around his temples. So unhappy, alarmed, keeping it a secret is the answer.
Yeah, I'm just going to look at the rest of the people and just be like, what the fuck is going on?
Well, I wish you well on your endeavor, I'll say to her.
Yeah, I gotta pass on the fruit cup. Citrus doesn't sit well on my stomach.
Well, everybody's got a different system, I suppose. But I guess we can all celebrate with, I don't know, just a general cheer. Excelsior! We're all going onward into space. Onward.
Excelsior.
Excelsior! Captain Igor has a follow-up toast that's a little rambling. Time passes. Unless anything other than Captain Huang's Go game is worth attending, we can move forward.
I want to talk to the psychologist.
Okay.
And maybe I might bring someone else with me if anybody wants to come.
Good.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
I am cheering the captain on this Go game as if it were like a major sporting event.
Very hard to, unless you play Go very well. No, I didn't even. Actually, that's a really funny skit. How could you possibly even know?
It's all uncalled for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, that's great. And Alcazar?
I believe Wanga's going to head to the laboratory to analyze his sample of broth.
Perfect. Okay, we'll start with that. It's very straightforward.
Mhm.
You have a chemistry or biology role?
I have biology.
Mm-hmm.
How? Okay, I have to spin luck for this. My biology is 80 and I rolled 93.
Okay.
Right. Okay, so
Don't
spending
spend
my
luck.
Oh,
What you know is that even though you tried to get a clean sample from the machinery, it wasn't clean. You get there and you turn the cup in and you start to bring it into some dishes, and there's some purple mess that was in the cup somehow, which is a little odd. But then again, maybe not that odd. If, this is a strange place. Maybe somebody asked for a fruit smoothie and then put a cup back. You're not sure. It's just a mess. You're going to have to go and get another sample.
Okay. All right. He'll head and do that and make sure the cup is clean this time.
Maybe you'll bring something from the lab instead of something that came at the extruder.
Okay.
Yeah. Indeterminate. Captain Huang and Adrian, you guys sit down for the Go game. What's your best skill for Go, Captain? What would you think? Do you want to
would say
do
intelligence?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So roll intelligence, and it's going to be you'll need a hard success.
Okay. Got an 88 out of 85. So
That's
he's
how
doing
we're
better than
rolling.
I am.
It's good to see you guys are rolling like humans. So you feel like you're playing well, and you feel like Martino is playing intelligently, but he just plays fast. It's like it's a game that involves some contemplation and in fact even meditation on some level. You want to look at and he's like, you look at the board, you consider what the risks are, you slide a stone, and he goes plunk, plunk.
Yeah.
Every time you move, it's as though he already played the game that you're playing.
You've studied a great deal of this game.
It's a finite board. It's a finite number of movements.
Well, you're very good.
Well, thank you. We can play again sometime, but I have things to do. Of
course.
It's got a lot.
I turn to, if he leaves, I turn to Adrian. He plays like a computer. And a computer that could actually play Go has never been well invented. It's not that kind of a game. It's not tic-tac-toe. I've never seen anybody play so fast.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know a lot about Go. I do know that was very fast.
I think Dr. Alcazar needs to see if she can identify any DNA from some of these strange people. Something doesn't add up.
I mean, the whole thing. I don't know. Everybody's. I don't want to say not normal, but it's not normal.
I think that the prime candidates would be Menendez and Santino. Then I'm pretty sure the psychologist is just like us. The captain also seems pretty down to earth, but the other two are acting very oddly. Whisper in Alcazar's ear. Tell him or him, check their DNA. Surely they must have, leave lip stains on cups and put spoons in their mouths. There should be DNA.
Yeah.
Now that you mention it, when I went to take a sample to analyze of the captain's broth, there was some strange substance that contaminated the sample. I am going to see if I can pilfer something from the receptacle that one of them have left behind and see what I can get from it.
A napkin that they wipe their mouth with.
Yeah. Yes.
There's certainly a scanner in one of the laboratories that's suitable for that. It churns out what looks like completely standard current human DNA. Nothing out of the ordinary at all. And your second sample of the broth breaks down to exactly the ingredients that he said. Like it's just,
of course it does.
It's just a cocktail of things that are not considered dangerous by the authorities.
Nothing odd or fishy in this cocktail.
Nothing fishy at all. Well, we're so far from any fish.
At a later date, if they come to me and they tell me all of these things, I might say, perhaps, Dr. Alcazar, you should check us. Maybe we are experiencing some kind of outer space psychosis due to our hibernation, because we're becoming all very paranoid. And yet, when you go to check, everything seems normal. And the more normal it seems, the more paranoid we are becoming. This might be us who's having a problem.
It could be.
Maybe get the psychologist in here and talk to him about it. Space psychosis.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So you were playing Go in the lounge.
Yeah.
And your competitor ran off. Mr. Alcazar joined you there and had this conversation. Are you going to try to summon the psychologist directly, or are you going to wait? Anybody else got?
Do we want to sample our DNA before we try to talk to?
Let's get Pritchard and Allison in here as well.
Okay.
I mean, we were going to talk to the psychologist.
Right. You guys can. Right. We'll have you guys all meet in the commissary, and you can move next door to the lounge. You were tracking the psychologist. He was preparing himself a cocoa. You all found each other, and you can settle in. And do you want to avoid any other members of Deimos 23?
For right now, yes.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I'm not worried about the captain, but I think there's.
So when you guys are bringing the psychologist from the dining hall into the lounge, Asuka comes in to water her plants and says, "Oh, are we playing a game? Is it time for a social tea?"
No, we were just about to have a conversation, me and my crew. It's a bit private, if you wouldn't mind.
So you wish to socialize separately with members of your own crew?
Well, it's not
That seems very
necessarily
reasonable.
socialization, but
No, I
yes.
entirely understand. Thank you very much for clarifying. And she puts down her little watering can and walks away.
The fuck?
You all saw that, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not normal, correct? Right?
I don't know. This woman was spouting positivity at dinner and talking about us all being a family. Maybe we offended her sense of family.
These bunks lock, right? Like we can lock our doors, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing is locked on a vessel. Like things lock relatively. Everything has to be unlockable for safety purposes. So you have privacy, but
We also don't have any way of doing anything about it if the situation is. So far, they've done nothing hostile, but let's get the psychologist in here. Well, if he's in here.
yeah, he's been brought in, and he's got this like, you don't need his like roll to see that he's also like feeling really like.
Let's just say that we go over all of our current observations with the psychologist. Could this be our problem, or could this be that we are indeed and in fact observing very odd behavior?
Do you feel yourself to be yourself entirely already?
I feel myself well, it's an odd question. I'm the same person I've always been.
Do you feel as in touch with the members of your crew as you did before you came aboard?
In a manner, I feel closer to them.
Mm-hmm. But you think there's something wrong with this crew?
Well, their behavior seems unexplainable.
Yeah, I mean, they're frightening me. They're not. They've always been. I mean, they've always been. We're all eccentric, right? Everyone's got their personality stuff, right?
When
But
did they
you
all
did-
start getting weird?
Yeah, you did say that things have changed.
Well, and this is why I have anxiety about making judgments, because it's been since we were out of cryo this last time. I've been in cryo with them before and out of it, and it's been fine. The captain is a little superficial. Atsuka is a little fiddly. Marco's private, but they don't.
But their personality traits being enhanced? Are they more private, more finicky, more happy-go-lucky, whatever the hell the captain's deal is than before?
It's not. It's less It's something more subtle and human. They don't feel like them. And I don't know if I can trust you people. Have you looked one another in the eyes since you woke up here?
Yeah, your eyes are looking a little bit strange, Doctor.
I mean, of course we look at each other. We don't really have any reason to stare at each other in the eyes.
I
I've
mean,
I've seen only normal behavior from my people.
I'm always this level of drunk.
I would usually laugh, but that was funny.
Dr. Sankara, did you and the crew all wait the recommended period of time between your first cryo sleep and your second cryo sleep?
Yeah, we were on schedule. That's why this interruption is, I'm hoping, the reason that I'm so uncomfortable and uncertain about things. Before we stopped for you, everything was in order, except I know there was an explosion that I saw, and none of them remember anything about it. They act like nothing happened until the bell rang for us to wake up and pull you out of your little orbits. And I remember that too. I'm sure I woke up with them at the same time. But before that, there was something else.
So you became aware before you were fully out of cryo sleep?
I don't know. No. No. Yes. No. I was something happened before I woke up. Something awful.
Sure, I don't.
Mr. Cohen, what was it that you said? I'm sorry, wait a second. Who went to talk to Santino, tell him that I wanted to play Go?
That was me,
Oh,
Captain.
sorry.
And
Allison,
mhm.
what was it that you said that he said about feeling the stones on wood?
Yeah. It's like he said he had a memory of feeling them, and it like tripped him up. Like his brain just started misfiring like an engine, like that's not picking up steam. You know what I mean?
He said it, but here's the Go table and the stones. He could feel stones against wood any time that he wanted to. Did he say he's been trying to program new games?
Yeah, yeah, maybe a computer game, something. Uh, I don't know. He
I'm
just keeps
I'm
saying that goes the best. Yeah,
I'm going to stand up and I'm going to walk over, and if there's something in the ship that's more or less stationary, um, let's say I don't know, a computer terminal or something that I could reach around behind and feel if there's any dust, dirt, or nothing at all because it's not been programmed in. I'm trying to determine if we're in a simulation somehow,
Um,
trying to be intuitive about it.
why don't you roll power?
You don't have to program every speck of dust unless what? I got a 69.
Pass.
I could spend 4 points to pass. Luck.
You're you don't need to. Well, I'll let Alcazar's pass run unless you want to go farther, Captain Wong.
Well, maybe Alcazar has more insight into what might work to try to determine if this is reality or not.
Feeling behind its surface to see if there's another surface there. Sure, there's another surface there. There's no discontinuity. There isn't any dust. The metal is cool and smooth. Nothing is surprising. I guess I will ask now for an int roll to follow up.
From me or the captain? Okay.
You can both do it because you're sort of involved in the same project.
32 out of 80. Wait a second. Yeah, 85. So that's a hard start.
So
I just have a regular pass.
Rather than spending luck to sort of find the impossible, I'll say your intelligence commends you to recognize that if you're an illusion sufficient to feel like you have gravity and taste food, that, they didn't forget to put a panel behind the steering wheel, or like it's a solid construct. But the fact that everything feels real doesn't mean it's real. Like you verified that what you're experiencing seems real, but that doesn't mean that it is.
Wonga pinches himself really hard.
How about repetition of texture? Like find something, that, I suppose if you're a sophisticated enough simulation, you could make sure that absolutely everything is perfect.
If I see
energy,
if I see the captain and Wonga starting to pinch themselves and touching a bunch of shit, I'm gonna be like, "What the hell are you two doing? You just spaced out of the conversation, started touching the walls."
Well, it's the lines of what we're thinking about. Mr. Santino played that game as if he were a computer, and we've seen Miss Menendez glitch out. I'm positing that this might not entirely be reality, but a simulation.
Yeah,
What?
Cohen and I witnessed the Captain Igor. He just
it would be
paused for an extremely long period of time.
It would be more sophisticated than anything that we can imagine having been constructed. I'm going to go. Are there windows looking out into space?
There are portals. They're actually screens, not windows, because it's safer.
Oh well, that's no good. I was going to see if I could look out and see.
There's a bit of rustling and actually a little foot tread because people are showing up for lunch.
Sure.
Wait, weren't we just at dinner time?
Were you?
Mm-hmm.
We just finished a Go game and
after dinner.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you've all slept the whole night.
What? Whoa, no.
It's exactly 8 a.m.
What?
Each of your pods has a little clock next to it, a little light, and it's all adjusted. It's 8 a.m.
I'm in my pod now.
You're in your pod, and it's 8 a.m.
I leap out of my pod. I turn to Adrian's pod and I say, whatever's in that bottle, send it over my way right the fuck now.
Oh my.
What? Crew, what is going on?
I don't know, but I don't want to be sober for it. That's all I'm
Feel
going
like
to say.
we were just talking and watching you and Wonga poke around at stuff. And I mean, now
Okay.
I'm outside of my pod, just woken
Did-
up, 8 a.m.
Did you dream? I dreamed. I had a very strange dream.
Smells like coffee. You hear a voice. Rise and shine.
I did dream some sort of. I mean
Pink light?
that awful noise. Yeah, pink light.
Snakes or something squirming?
Something more like octopi. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the same thing.
What in the hell? What in the hell is going on here?
I want to find their, life pods and eject myself out of here. Because this is too much.
Shared dreamers will have to share sand tests again.
I vote we flush the enemy crew at the airlock.
I did not.
I
Pass.
failed.
I passed.
95.
Yeah, I failed.
16.
Wow.
32 under.
Really dramatic. This time we're going to go 1 if you pass and 1d4 if you fail.
That's fair.
I
One, nice.
what? How is this even possible? Like, I don't think physics works this way.
It works this way inside of a computer program.
Has my whole life been a computer program? Long swig from the bottle.
Well, I just don't see what would cause these time jumps and these weird pauses from the rest of the crew.
Are we having this conversation in the sort of communal area outside of the pods, or have you moved toward the lounge or
Just
the
outside
kitchen?
the pods, I think.
Outside the pods.
Your friend, your chess master, go master, comes out of his pod, rubbing his eyes and says, "Morning, I'm ready for another match. I'm ready for another match."
Wait a minute. Wonga,
Right.
you just timing, you said. You said timing. Santino, you said the other day you were messing around with some sort of deceleration timing equipment on the ship, right? Right? That's what you said, right?
This is your captain, Captain Igor, coming over the last vigor of the ship. Hello, all. Rough morning. Seems like everybody could use a fresh cup of coffee, maybe some delightful head eggs in the commissary. Come on in. The weather's fine.
We need to get to the bottom of this. Let's go. Going towards the commissary.
I'm not eating any more goop off this thing.
No, I figured
suggest
that
you eat
out
or drink
after Asuka started going on about mandarin oranges.
So wait, we can't eat anything. Wait. Oh God.
I don't think
If you're hungry, I brought some protein cubes in my emergency bag, so it's okay.
Okay. All right. Protein cubes.
So I'm marching into the lounge or the commissary. Is everybody there?
I'm right behind Captain.
Hey, Captain. It's Captain. Good to see you. Pilot Cohen, good to see you. Is your crew under the weather?
Oh,
Captain
sir,
Igor.
Captain Igor,
Hey,
we need to know what's going on. Are we in some sort of an experiment?
Are we in some kind of? Is this a?
Are we in a computer?
Or are we in a computer? Well, I hope the hell not, because if I am, it's a hell of a shit computer, man. Look at, I've got the skin tag behind my knee. Like,
I mean,
why
I
the
can't.
hell would they program that?
We feel like we have had enough of this. If you are conducting some sort of an experiment on us, it needs to stop. We've been abducted against our wills.
Captain, that's a serious accusation.
Is it true?
I would never remotely consider kidnapping any sentient being, let alone a human being. I don't know what you're even upset about.
The way you phrase it, you don't phrase it as if you were just another person.
I don't like this
Christ.
laugh, man.
He's stuck.
I'm shanking the captain. I'm gonna stab him.
Slap the man. He's gone crazy.
Okay, so we're entering combat mode.
This is too much. I've lost too much sand. I lost 4 sand.
I think defensively, I might also just try to haul off and punch him.
Well, you know it's Chen who called it. What's your dex, Richard?
Absolutely miserable.
Brilliant.
My dex is 63. Okay, it's fine.
Okay, the rest of you?
70.
60.
80.
60.
80.
80. Okay.
She's quick.
I just want to say I've not put down my bottle, so it's going to get somebody's head.
That's handy. So, Ellison, when you see Pritchard start to swing at your host captain, do you take action?
When you said shank, do you have a knife or a weapon, or are you just cold cocking punching?
No, like I would have taken some sort of knife because we're in the commissary, right?
Yeah, we're meeting in the food lounge.
Yeah.
How many things you have to cut?
Yeah, I'm gonna basically.
It's a sharp butter knife, basically.
Okay,
it's terrible weapon.
I'm gonna go whoa, and I'm gonna just push the Captain Igor out of the path of the swinging knife.
Right.
What's a good roll for that, if anything?
You can do a regular brawl. The captain is not going to resist.
Oh boy, 25%. Here we go, baby.
Okay.
It fell off the edge. That is a 20 on the nose.
Beautiful. So you might actually bruise Captain Igor, but you'll get him out of the way of the shank.
Richard, what are you doing?
And then we have a 70.
Yes, me.
Do you want to take action? Do you want to disarm the maniac or?
Oh no, I was going to try to punch the captain. So
right,
I think I swing.
Yeah.
I swing and miss.
You swing past his air.
Because Allison.
And 63?
Well, if Allison has gotten the captain out of my way, are the other people here?
Most of the crew is in the commissary at this point, yeah. Most of both crews.
How are the other crew members who are crazy reacting?
There's a lot of catatonia. Nobody's assaulting you guys because of this behavior.
Okay, then I'll go for another member of the crew and stab them.
Wow. Okay. Let's
Manic
see.
Menendez.
I'm going for Menendez. She creeped me out earlier.
Well, are you going for closest or for Menendez?
Or closest, yeah, I'll go for closest.
Closest is poor, nervous little guy, Marco.
Your go plane days are over.
So your shiv plan changed, and now you're spinning to reshiv. Oh,
you won't believe what I got.
Well, you're gonna
try to
have a
stop
penalty for changing targets.
Yeah.
And you've got Wonga try to stop. So what's your plan, Wonga?
Well, because what is his name? Santino. Because Santino was the one that was messing with the timing of the ship. He might be the only one that can undo whatever he did. So I'm gonna try to shove Chen and keep him, or like grab him and keep him from like stabbing the man that might be able to fix whatever's going on.
All right, this is pretty complicated. Chen goes first, but I'm sorry, what was your roll, Chen? You had a very good roll.
Well, with a penalty dice, I have to roll it again. Oh my god. I'm not even kidding. The first one was a 02, second is a 99. Or a 92.
92, yeah.
Yeah.
But Wonga should still roll because...
Okay. Is this fighting brawl?
Interleaving here. It's a fighting brawl, yeah, just to grab his arm or push him off.
Bad. He's a big man, but he's weak. Yeah, I failed royally.
Okay. So basically, it's bumper cars.
Okay.
Like stab, good dodge, twist, fail, bump, clumsy, everyone looks stupid. Now it's like, oh, geez, people. What's going on?
And all this I swung and missed at just, I don't know, anything.
This is actually
I followed
really
the captain.
A lot more like normal human combat than people see in games.
I swung where the captain swung. So,
did you have one last act, Allison?
Nope. I pushed the captain out of the way.
Okay, so that now the whole lounge turns into this weird Mexican standoff situation, and the shrink is like, people, it's not our fault. I don't know what's going on, but killing each other is not the answer, man. You just gotta look into each other's eyes and see who's real. Because some of us are real and some of us aren't real anymore.
What are you talking about, Doctor?
I don't know. I wish I know.
I don't like anything that dude's saying right now, but I do agree. We all got to cool out like a bunch of little Fonzies. Everybody just take a chill pill. Let's talk this out for a second here.
I am looking at the captain for direction.
Did we not say that the ship has an AI? Can we question the AI?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone can.
And we've seen these other people not reacting. They're reacting like nothing's happened.
Yeah, I think there's been some... the regular crew has moved in a little bit, but maybe just from shock, because you guys just arrived here and you're so violent and weird. But they're coming up to aid their captains and friends and so on.
But their facial expressions, they weren't like horrified. They were just stoic. Is that what you were saying? Especially Menendez.
Yeah, sure. Not rapid to respond. let's say.
We did something unexpected, and it couldn't compensate for whatever it is.
They were fucking
Doctor.
questioning us in our sleep. That's how they knew the information.
I'm going to lean forward and sort of reach out and grab the psychologist and go, let me look into your eyes. Are you real? And I'll stare right into his eyes.
This is Kabare Sankara.
Correct.
Yeah.
He's got blood vessels. He's got complex irises.
I want to be able to see, Captain, that you too are, what do we say, an ensouled being, a person. The eye is the window to the soul.
So they say.
Your eyes are not natural.
Know what you're talking about.
Is there a mirror? Can we look into the mirror and study our own eyes?
You
We're
can
right in the middle of a battle.
Well,
right.
Is anyone still fighting?
It's all frozen or all stopped.
I am primed and ready to smack someone in the head if the captain gives me the side eye to do so, but not actively attacking anyone.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a bright skirmish, and then things resolved temporarily into discomfort and uncertainty.
I put the bottle
Is
down.
anyone picking up another? There's this cold, this awful back sweat moment where people who were friendly just a day earlier were looking at each other with uncertainty. But nobody seems to want really to hurt anyone else. They're just freaked out. Maybe.
I'm going to look into Alcazar's eyes. Do you see anything other than what our eyes have always looked like?
I'm not sure. Do I?
The answer is that there's something wrong. It's like maybe if there was a mirror inserted somewhere behind the iris in each eye, so if you move back and forth, it shifted wrong.
Like a lens. Oh.
It doesn't look like the man you knew before the accident. Not in his eyes. Everything else is perfectly the same.
There is something. It's almost like a mirror within your iris.
Do I
It looks
see anything
off.
in her eyes?
The same thing. It's unnatural. You're not sure she's really herself.
Guys, mirror eyes? What the fuck?
They're not shiny mirrors. They're black pits that have subtle tunnels in them.
The captain and Wonga locking eyes, so I immediately turned to Allison and
Are there any mirrors in the ship? Whoa.
There are no mirrors in an interplanetary vessel. There are screens that show cameras.
How about in the bathroom? Isn't there a mirror?
Why would he use glass? It's a camera and a screen.
I'm going to poke my eye with the knife. Just like a prod, not an actual. Just to see if I can still feel it.
Oh.
Get on in there, Pritchard.
Roll Dex.
Uh-oh. Yep, past 50.
Okay. That hurt, but you didn't damage yourself. Yeah, it's a sharp thing in an eye.
Yeah, I'm done staring at Allison now.
Yeah, dude. What did you see, Adrian? Do I have the mirror eyes?
Honestly, I don't know. It's what they were doing. So I was looking for something, and then Chin stabbed his own eye.
Yeah, that was pretty freaky deaky. Pritchard, how are you doing? Cause I pull out my like pill bottle of my like the good stuff. I'm like, do you want to maybe take one of these and just chill out for a few minutes?
What's this thing with our eyes? We have to look at everybody's eyes to see if it's the same for all of us. Systematically, I'm then going to look in everybody's eyes.
Who are you asking, Captain?
I'll look into Adrian's eyes. Same thing.
Everyone looks wrong.
Is that because the simulation that we're in is not drawing us correctly, or?
Captain, I gotta say, I don't know what's going on here, but simulation, like, there's no way for us to know that. And if it's good enough to do all this shit, you think it would forget that one detail? Like,
did we ever get around to testing our DNA in the sequencer?
I think you had.
Go ahead.
Have had time to muck around with that.
The thing is if it's a simulation, it's just showing you what we want to see, which is DNA.
Hmm.
You're right, Allison. There's no way to tell if it's a simulation or not.
your brain in a jar on a shelf, and you're being pumped in a perfect simulation of reality. How would you ever know? And how would you get out? And even if you did,
You
get
have
out
to
of that
die.
simulation,
Yeah, but what if all the universe itself is just a simulation?
Pritchard, let's just even metaphorically, let's just take a chill pill there, brother, because that energy you're producing right now.
Actually, it's much worse than what Pritchard said. Your only choice is to either conform, go ahead and start acting like normal people, and just going along with the simulation.
Oh, Asuka comes in with a little glass vial with a small plant and a tiny pair of scissors. Like, everyone seems very upset about something. Everyone seems very anxious. Do you think that you are benefiting from your current understanding, or do you wish to relax? I understand that plant growth is relaxing. Is it not?
I don't like any of that. I don't like any of that just happened.
I think I need a sanity roll.
Yeah, me too.
Please.
Yep.
Have all of you partaken of the plants?
Fail.
Oh, I fell by 1 point. I fell. 75 out of about 74.
Let's call that a 2-4. 2 if you pass, 4 if you fail.
Is this all of us for sanity rolled?
If you witness that, and yeah.
Well, I've had enough of this, and I'm going to.
Failed. What is it for failure?
1d4.
1d4.
Okay. Ooh,
I'm going to
4.
storm out and go back to my pod.
I lost 4. My 1d4.
Jeez.
Yeah,
I take a drink, and I'm walking, following the captain, but just constantly turning around, looking at the other crew.
Mm-hmm.
What is indefinite insanity? It's like 15%.
It's one.
If you
it's
take
losing-
if you take 20, if you lose 20% of what you had.
Oh, 20%. Okay.
all in one day.
Yeah.
Not there yet.
I'd like to go up to Menendez, and I'm freaked the hell out. But I'm like, Menendez, what? Just help us out here. We're all panicking. We're all freaking out. What's with the plants? Just talk to me. What's going on here?
May I call you a lesson?
Of course.
What's going on? Allison, is the plants. They're plants. They're inserted. They're plants, right?
Inserted into what?
Inserted. It's a plant. It's a plantation. They didn't come here. They didn't. Plant. It's a pun. It's a pun. Plant. Right? Right?
If there's any of my crew, like our crew left in the room, I'm going to ask them to help me load up these plants in the fucking airlock right now. I don't like it.
I think we've been implanted, is what she's saying.
Yeah, something behind our eyes.
What do we do? What do we do about it?
I don't know. We can't just rip our eyes out.
It's in our brain. We're part of some sick experiment. I'm just going back to my pod and closing the door and sitting on the bed and closing my eyes.
There's a broad channel message over the ship's intercom.
Mm.
Hello, friends. Old and new. It's your Captain Igor here. Igor Saramaja from Earth. From Earth. Guys. Sorry, there's been some violence. Sorry, there's been some uncertainty. Things seem to be a little bit unclear. We're going to settle in for a long sleep, so we might as well all get along. Right, little buckaroos? Every living human on this vessel should join me in the lounge for a social game, a conversation, and some planning about how we move forward together as a shared community and a crew. That's all. Captain Igor out.
I'm at the captain's door because I was following him, but I didn't make it in time. So I turn around and I am storming to the lounge.
I'm also returning to the lounge.
I throw this bottle in
I'm
somebody's face.
following.
I am popping pills along the way, like they're candy, like gummy bears.
As I come into the lounge, I take a last swig, and then I am just throwing the bottle at the first alternate crew's face that I see.
You mean the original crew?
Yeah.
You call them alternate, but we preceded you. You monster. Sure.
I have a 20 in throw.
It's not a big room. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a 004.
Oh, damn. Okay.
That is
He's got a broken nose.
That's very good. That is right at, well, it's right at extreme success.
And actually, Asuka wasn't trying to duck at all. She was just like, "Oh, a fun game." So you just bashed in her little grinning weird head, and she's like, the bottle only broke a little bit because it's thick glass, but her nose broke a lot. The bottle broke when they both went to the floor, and then there's like this weird, like quiet sort of noise while she tries to breathe through her broken nose, and it hurts because of whiskey.
Their blood
and blood. Oh yeah.
I yell, yeah! And I turn to the captain for approval.
There's blood. I didn't expect blood.
And Captain Eager is like, I'm not sure that. I mean, pretty unfriendly behavior, buddy, for some random weirdos we picked up on the way.
No, you're the weirdo. You're the weirdo.
Whoever you are, whatever you are, level with us. Tell us what the fuck is going on. Our patients, we're on to you. Something's going on.
You're on to. Sorry. What do you mean you're on to? What? You're pretty. You're a pretty primitive guy to life form death. Hey. And her nose. Come on.
I don't feel bad about it.
You wanted us here. Tell us what you were going to tell us.
Hey, friends. It's been a journey, right? It's been a journey, right?
I'm gonna tackle this guy.
No, I'm gonna hold you.
Okay.
Got to get to the bottom of this.
It's disappointing. It's disappointing. You did not last very long or do very well. The psychologist did not warn us.
Elaborate, please. Like to know more about what the fuck's going on.
Who are you, really? If you say hello, folks, where are you? You can't speak well from a human body, is that right?
We don't have very good mechanisms for that. It's true.
Is there a way that you can create your own form to speak properly to us? Or some proximity?
I'll just show you where you live now, and then we can talk.
I pop more pills in the instance between he shows where we are.
They're not real pals. Show us. Show us what you're going to show us.
Yeah, that's bad. That's pretty bad. That's bad. Yeah, that's pretty fucking bad. All right, great.
We're brains in a canister.
You are just brains in jars, and have been for some time. We captured the Deimos 23 before 2 of the crew died. The psychologist did not. We have had his brain for decades. He hates it. We destroyed your facility because it was near a moon we are using. And we scattered your minds, collected them, put them in jars, because we are trying to learn how to use a field of human minds as a resource. We don't like the rate of rejection.
You shot my
Where do you
ship?
come from?
We come from the outer cold of your planetary system. We are Migo, from what you used to call Pluto.
But okay. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. Thank you for being honest with us.
What do you mean you want to use this as a resource?
Your electronic nimble systems generate some charge. We are planning to connect billions of you into a system to process information.
You know that we'll do everything we can to stop you.
That's why we are learning how to confuse you by connecting your jarred brains into little plays like this. It turns out that Pilot Adrian could perhaps be satisfied if he were not angered by agitators like Engineer Garrett. All of you exist only in our technology. Nothing you have seen or touched since the explosion, which we caused, is real.
Great.
Then you'll find that we do not cooperate with your experiments.
We find that as we learn how to manipulate your reality, you do not choose.
And how long have we been in a jar?
Oh, you are quite fresh. But you will be with us for tens of thousands of years if we are not interrupted.
Okay, great, good, yeah. So So we're stuck here in your little mind prison, right? Indefinitely, more or less, right?
That is correct.
How do we make that more comfortable for us?
No, any data you'll give them on how to make things more comfortable, they'll use on others. I say that we do not cooperate with them.
And do what, Captain?
Shut
We can't
the
starve.
ship
We can't
down.
die. I don't think there is a ship.
There's no ship.
There's
we
not
shut
a
it down.
ship.
They just start this whole rigmarole over again.
What happens if we die in the simulation? Like I said.
Nothing. It's not real.
You already have many times the instantiation, the reason that you remembered as little but as much as you have is because you engaged in violence with the crew, also formerly real, authentic, identifiable, unique. Your terms make no sense. The other crew was once also biologically alive, including their psychologist. But they died when we attacked the vessel Deimos 23. Only the coward psychologist survived. So only his brain could be mapped onto this experiment. But I think it's a useful experiment to have a human psychologist to prove that you can't even recognize yourselves. All of your brain jars are on the way to Pluto and then beyond. Make yourselves comfortable.
But the problem for you is if we keep failing your experiment, even though our death isn't our actual death, you will not be able to use our brain to process your power source if we keep doing this cycle over and over again. Am I not correct?
Yes, you are not correct. We will just continue to use the information.
I just did a sanity roll. I failed.
Well,
Friends, all of us are on a long journey into new and darker spaces with the innocent team of a tiny crew of Migo adventurers who have no idea what they'll find when they get past the Proxima system and into stranger and more frightening worlds than even they can functionally apprehend. But at least you'll find out with them. Bon voyage.
I still get simulation drunk all the time.
Good story.
Pretty
I
sure
love a
Wonga just
happy
holds
ending.
up in his room.
I love the happy ending, and I'm glad you kept it really light, David. Like, this got pretty dark, but that was great.
Yep.
I knew it was giving Morgan Mothership vibes from the beginning. I knew it wasn't going to end well.
Let's just all remember that when you don't cooperate with the Miko and you're just a brain in a jar, they can just turn the pain up and walk away and leave you in torture forever.
That's why you immediately cooperate with them and go like, I want the steak dinners, I want the fancy mansion in the simulation. Oh, man. That was great, David. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
The question is, though, are they going to erase us again to start it all over? Ugh, I hate that.
So is there anything we missed? That was really good. I didn't figure it out for quite a while. I didn't suspect the Miko, except that when Allison said, We're all just jars on a shelf. Your eyes went really
Yeah.
big. And I was
That
like,
was
oh,
out of the
no.
blue too. I
Wait.
can't believe it worked so well.
It was Colin's eyes that gave it away?
No, it
Is that what
was
you said? Or
yours.
mine?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
had no idea.
Because when
Yeah,
Colin
no.
said it, you went,
I was so dodging because it's the Migos show up a lot, right?
yeah.
The first dream I thought gave too much away, et cetera, et cetera. I was worried for the title because, again, like the plot is a lot about I can't trust what people like eye contact looks like. But that's a weird thing to do, especially over Zoom. And I really liked some of our Zoom breakdowns. And I also, Tom, I had this idea, this fantasy that if you run it, because I have my laptop right here, and if you switched Zoom from different positions, so it's like so that the camera moved, it's like that seems really creepy.
Well, the funny thing
I
was
felt
is
like there were a lot of trickiness.
when you purposefully glitched, I kept looking around to see if anyone else was moving because I glitched a couple times in the beginning. I was like,
I thought it was
Yeah.
I thought it was the Yithians. My theory was that the Yithians were like reading our minds, so they could like clone us or something.
let's go ahead and finish it, and then we can talk some more.
Mm-hmm.
Our players included Carrie Marion, Kent Blue, Colin Richards, Max Meltzer, and myself with David Gassaway as the Keeper of Arcane Lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons who are listed in the closing credits. If you'd like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows. And leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.